Stations.
Is this the dagger?
Oh, unbelievable! How about that?
It's time for Sportstime on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sportstime is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Beautiful morning, yeah, the sun in my morning, babe. Nothing in the water.
Welcome into Sports Time, Monday, December 26th edition. I'm not Gabe Kuhn. Gabe's out of town. Oh, yeah. Do we need to do the weather? I thought I had it on my watch.
It's 35 degrees and cloudy.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you. I'm Bryant Dacus, Jay Morgan with me. Let me start with Gabe. Gabe is on vacation this week. I'm not sure where he is, but he's not going to be here this week.
Not at the Family Leisure Studios.
No, not at the Family Leisure Studios. Brett, on the other hand, he's traveling right now with Ole Miss football as they play their bowl game Wednesday night against Texas Tech down in the Texas Bowl. He will be joining us a little later, probably around 4 o'clock, once he gets all settled in down at his hotel room. But for right now, Bryant Dacus and Jay Morgan Harder with you. Jay, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Bryant. Merry day after Christmas.
Happy Boxing Day. It's Boxing Day.
Is it too early to say Happy New Year?
I mean, yes. I think so.
All right.
I think so.
Good answer.
It's Boxing Day, though.
You had to think about it, too.
I did.
See, that pause, that's for you people that aren't in radio like Bryant and I, that pause indicates that Bryant thought about it and didn't just
behind the curtain.
Didn't just mindlessly answer the question.
Yeah. Well, because I was thinking, you say Merry Christmas for like a whole month, and now you have a week for New Year's, so I didn't know if that was too long of a time. But I do think it is a little bit too long. Maybe when we get to like Thursday or Friday, then you can start saying
Happy New Year. How late after? I think there's a whole Curb Your Enthusiasm episode about how late do you say a Happy New Year. If it's like a week after, you could say it up to that point.
I think you can, yeah.
But if it's 2 weeks after the New Year.
we've already gotten
What if it's February?
No, now you're
certainly can't say it in February.
Now you're wishing people what's the day in February?
Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's
Day.
President's Day.
That's in February.
I think so.
Uh-huh.
Not a lot of, a big sports weekend.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Not a lot of college basketball, not a ton of college football bowl games. There is one right now, the New Mexico State Fighting Aggies.
Fighting New Mexico Aggies.
And
we call them that because Texas A&M
is the
Texas
Aggies.
So we dropped the state for New Mexico.
Right.
They're the Fighting New Mexico Aggies.
New Mexico Aggies. They're up 14-0 over Bowling Green. I believe I picked Bowling Green in this one.
Oh man, that's a tough one.
But we made our picks last week, so I picked too early. But big weekend NFL. I know you love the NFL and some NBA. What did you watch more of yesterday? I know Christmas Day is usually a basketball day, but the NFL's kind of starting to take it over.
I had multiple TVs going. NFL definitely won the day yesterday, the second game was terrible.
It was very bad. But it was on Nickelodeon. I completely forgot it was on Nickelodeon until after the game. Did you?
When I saw Patrick Starr and Bill Fagerbacke, who voices Patrick Starr, come on there and start ripping Russell Wilson,
He's always been Patrick.
He's always been Patrick.
He's also from Coach,
but
TV show.
Yes,
show.
Coach. He was in How I Met Your Mother. Yeah.
Was he?
Brian knows Bill Fagerbacke.
Let's go.
He's a legendary actor. He's a big guy. He's like 6'7".
He is. He's huge. He played like a linebacker in Coach or something. Or he's like a coach, but he's like the linebacker's coach.
Yeah, that's right. So when I heard him get on there as Patrick Starr and start ripping quarterbacks, start ripping Russell Wilson, I said, I got to record this. So I hit the record button, and I have it forever. I'll probably go back and watch it at a later date. But NBA won the night.
Mm-hmm.
Once the Grizzlies started, obviously I wanted to watch the Grizzlies. I'm sure you did too. We'll talk a lot about that. And then the Bucks game just didn't. I wasn't getting my juice, even though I love Trace McSorley.
The biggest game of the day was the Bucks Celtics game, in terms of matchups.
But it wasn't a good game.
But neither was that 3 o'clock game.
But the Dolphins game was really good. That got us going in the morning.
And then just kind of that middle of the day was.
So but the NFL I think still won the day. But yeah, I was surprised. I actually watched basketball last night instead of the NFL. And usually if the NFL has a standalone game, I'm watching.
That was a rough game last night in the NFL with Trace McSorley.
Yeah, I didn't watch
Tom
a second
Brady.
of it. To be honest,
I listened to it. I was here producing it.
How about that?
For Westwood One.
Who was on the call?
Don't remember. Ian Eagle. Isn't he usually on the call?
Sometimes, but he might have been on. His son did the Nickelodeon game.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I know that.
With Nate Burleson and then a child.
Well, that's what they usually do. The color commentator is usually one of the actors on Nickelodeon.
No. Young Dylan doesn't do. Young Dylan's the one that is the actor.
But he's done it before.
He does NFL Slime Time, and he'll sometimes do maybe a sideline or a little guest
that's
spot.
right. He'll be the sideline.
But they actually have a kid that is ambitious in wanting to be in broadcasting.
Oh,
or
he's
something.
not like a Nickelodeon actor.
So he's not just some idiot kid. No offense to
Interesting.
Young Dylan if he's listening. Shout out Young Dylan. You're gonna have to take the young on at some point, Young Dylan.
Then he's just Dylan.
Then he's just Dylan, and who's
Not
Dylan?
special then.
It's
yeah.
not special.
Wow.
But he does NFL Slime Time. I know he went on the call. But yeah, it was good. I loved it. And it got me going. They had Santa come out. He was doing the gritty, hitting the gritty.
Oh, wow.
So that's
a lot
about
of slime going on.
That's about all I have on the Nickelodeon broadcast.
Well, I forgot all about it. But let me set up today's show before we get into everything that happened over the weekend. We're going to talk a lot of Grizzlies this hour and the NFL yesterday and some of the other NBA games from the weekend. At 4 o'clock, David Cobb is going to join us. He's from CBS Sports. We're going to talk a lot of college football, some college basketball. You love David Cobb.
I love David Cobb.
We're going to talk some Tennessee basketball. I'm excited to ask him about the Volunteers. We'll ask him some college football.
He wrote a story about Southern Miss basketball,
I have questions about Southern Miss.
It's getting a lot of traction. He's getting a lot of praise
Southern Miss
for
is
it.
good.
So
good team.
Yeah, it's a good team, and I hear the story's good. He's getting a lot of traction for it. So
and I know he didn't write it, but I saw it on his Twitter page. I can't remember who wrote it now, but there's a really good piece on CBS Sports about Frank Martin and UMass and kind of how they're having a really good season, but it was really rough on Frank to kind of have to leave South Carolina and then go up to UMass. So that's a good story, too, up on CBS Sports. At 4:30, we were supposed to talk to Michael Cole, but he's having some travel issues. He was out.
Everybody is.
Yeah, I mean, it's snowing everywhere. It's cold, and a lot of people trying to get home after, get back from the holidays. So he's out. He was out at the game last night against the Warriors, so he's trying to get back to Memphis. We won't talk to him. We'll talk some more Grizzlies, some more NBA at 4:30. At 4:45, we'll talk about who won the weekend, college football and the NFL. We'll also talk about what we learned over the weekend that we didn't know before. And then at 5 o'clock, Evan Barnes will join us. He's from the CA. He covers Tiger football because if you didn't know, Tiger football back in action tomorrow afternoon against Utah State.
And Brett will be here by then, right?
Brett will be here.
Well, that's good because I can't talk about what I learned this weekend in football because I already knew everything.
Genius.
That's just a joke.
Genius. And then we'll wrap up the show at 5:30. We'll do a little Monday Night Football pregame or a little preview. We'll make our pick for that game. We'll also have a couple college football games to pick. And then, as always, Taco Bell Crunch Time will end the day.
Crunching it.
That's right.
Bryant, did you have a good gambling weekend? There were some wild games that happened. For instance, the Panthers beating the Lions.
That was a fun game.
Did you lock the Lions last week? No, you didn't lock the Lions.
No, but I put money on the Lions.
And the Bears let us down on because I know you locked.
Did. That was my
shot.
shock.
The Bears, and they were looking good, and then they just fell apart there, man.
They didn't have the offense. Just kind of they started the game really well, was driving down the field, couldn't run the ball, really just couldn't get anything going, especially in the second half. That's kind of when the Bills turned it on. So yeah, that was a rough loss.
It was a rough loss.
I'm trying to think of some other games that hurt me over the weekend.
The Cowboys won for you. They tried not to.
What a game! I got my Micah Parsons jersey on.
I texted you during that game. I was up here in the game I worked. I was up here working that on Sunday night.
Yeah.
And I was texting you about Micah Parsons. He asked for he chased Gardner Minshew the play before, chased him out of bounds. Gardner Minshew throws the ball away, and then he's begging Mike McCarthy for a timeout because he's just
and they had the camera right on him.
Literally, the camera right on him, like you said, and they called it a second before they snapped the football. It was.
I didn't think they were gonna.
Neither did I.
Call the timeout.
It was as late as you could call it.
Time out. And I was like, you're just gonna have to get ready.
He's begging for it.
And then they finally called the timeout, which you were upset about.
I've never
seen a linebacker.
Right, Michael Strahan would never. Kind of a weak move by Micah Parsons.
Well, he's a young guy.
I mean, we don't do precious metals like we do on Lolo and Friends. But if we did, I should have given. Didn't even think about it. Should have given a rush to Micah Parsons. Wow. The rare winning play in a rush where he demanded a timeout.
But it was a good call.
I don't know. I've never seen Michael Strahan do that, Brian.
But they win the game.
Yeah, but win a Super Bowl, do it in the big game, do it in the Super Bowl, and then do it again, which Michael Strahan did. I was going to ring my bell. I already rang it too many times.
You've rung it a lot today.
What about that Grizzlies game last night? We're going to talk more about that later, I guess.
We're going to talk later, but we can talk about it right now.
I want to talk about what happened in the NBA yesterday. We opened with Mary Nickmas. Because in the morning, I was looking for something
and
to watch.
they gave a boogie with a hoodie, a ESPN ugly Christmas hoodie.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I missed that.
That was like all over their Twitter page, and I was like, let's get back to the game.
Was it ugly?
I mean, sure.
Did you watch the Stephen A. cast?
No.
He started out with an interview with Spike Lee.
Okay.
The problem with the Stephen A. cast was, like, you know when they do the Manning cast or any of these other casts, they do a really good job of hearing stadium sound.
Yeah.
This did a very poor job of hearing stadium sound. Like, it was...
I mean, like, did you get no stadium sound? It's just you're hearing them from their studio?
At first, it was none. They turned it up a little bit, but it still wasn't much. You weren't hearing the squeak of the floor.
Right.
You mostly just heard... Like, if you listen closely on the radio, I don't know if you can hear closely on the radio. When my microphone's on here in the producer's room,
you can hear a lot of
you can
kind of
hear, like, the air conditioning
and
going.
And if you move your chair a little bit, you can hear the squeaking
That's what
of the
I
chair.
heard on the Stephen A. cast. It was just, like, ambient room sound. Wasn't good, Bryant.
What
Wasn't
guests
good.
do you have other than Spike Lee? Any more guests?
I turned it off after the Spike Lee
yeah, you
interview.
just couldn't-
I couldn't
didn't
do
hear
it
any
anymore.
floor
I should have
noise,
recorded
so-
it like I did the Nickelodeon cast, to be honest with you. And then the Knicks blew a huge lead down the
they did.
stretch, and I wanted to see the Knicks win on Christmas Day. Unfortunately for me and all the Knicks fans up north, we didn't get that. And
Didn't
the
get
Sixers
that.
won 8 straight.
James Harden looked really good.
Screw him.
And then now reports are coming out that he might go back to Houston in the
Really?
offseason. Mm-hmm.
For what? Because he wants to go to the strip clubs.
That I was thinking
That has
more
to be
just
the
'cause
sole reason.
They have a younger team kind of building it
That
up.
team stinks. They play no defense. There's no way that anyone wants to go play in Houston because of the team they're
So
building.
it's just the strip club.
It has to just be because of the strip club. Seriously. I know that. And he has no ambition to be good.
That's true.
He just wants to go do his thing, go hang out and party, and then go home.
Play hoops, go party. Do it all
Speaking of
over
guys, speaking of Houston, Eric Gordon, they should hang his jersey in the rafters.
again. Really?
Because he played there when they are good and being competitive.
And now
then
terrible.
they paid him too much money and he can't go anywhere now. And he still plays there when they're terrible and playing no defense. No one has done more for the Houston Rockets in the city of Houston than Eric Gordon. Hang his jersey in the rafters. What do you think about that? How
I
about
mean,
that?
you're right. He has been there through the ups and the downs.
Ups and downs.
Only one to be there through the ups and the
That's
downs.
right.
Everyone else has kind of
Yeah.
ran.
I don't think he wanted to be there. They just paid him too much
No,
money, and
but-
he can't go anywhere.
He can't go anywhere.
He can't do anything about it. He's just stuck there.
But
now.
hey, he's in good spirits
Maybe
about
so.
it. Maybe.
Houston Rockets are my least favorite team in the NBA.
Really?
Yeah, they're terrible, man. They play no defense. They're an abomination.
They're
an absolute abomination.
They're a league pass favorite
Are they really?
because they're athletic.
Stupid. They play no defense. Everyone it's like I can't really compare them to anything. There's nothing like
They
it.
just don't play defense.
They play absolutely no
well, that's
defense.
kind of like the opposite
of every young
the
team
Pistons
in basketball. Not
last
anymore.
year.
But young teams play hard.
Right.
And that's all they give you because they're not going
'Cause
to
they're
win in the
not good.
NBA.
Right.
And so they play hard on both ends. They're going to give it everything they got every night. That's what you can count on is a tough, competitive, play hard game.
Yeah.
The Rockets are the anomaly in that.
Because they don't play defense.
And that's going to ruin these young guys' careers, to be honest with you, because you got all these young guys that their first foray into the National Basketball Association is, I ain't playing hard on defense. Like, that's just not the way you build a young team. And you see with Christian Wood in the Mavs game, I mean, the Mavs scored 50 points in that third quarter, but they were getting big boyed by Thomas Bryant. Where did Thomas Bryant go? Indiana?
He did.
Fine player, does fine, but
Sure, but he's not a
no
star.
world beater.
No.
Not even a starter in the NBA,
No,
maybe.
no.
All he's an old school physical big, and he was giving Christian Wood the work in the first half because Christian Wood has no intention to play defense. And never has been asked to before.
But he looked great offensively.
He did.
30 points.
And then the
30
Grizzlies
piece.
lost. Tough
Then the
for
Grizzlies
them.
lost. Do you want to talk about that?
You want to?
Before we get to top and not top story?
I know we're
going
gonna
to
talk about
We'll
it.
talk about 3:30, but we can start a little bit right now.
You want to get into it
Sure.
a little bit? What can you say about the Warriors? The Warriors played well, obviously.
Like,
There was a lot of
great.
technical fouls in
Yeah.
the game against them.
Well, chippy.
But
But that's how rivalries are built, Jay.
that's right.
Chippiness.
And
technicals.
Clay said it after the game: is they bring out the best in
He
us.
did.
I think we might bring out a lot in them, and I think there's a lot of truth to
Yeah.
that as well. Because
That's fun.
especially because the way that the fan base in Memphis reacts to the Warriors, they hate them.
And the Warriors kind of like to troll Grizzlies fans.
Well,
That's what it
I would
seems
say it's
like.
both ways,
Yeah.
but you have to win
That's
series
right.
and win
That's
games in
right.
order to troll the other way. Otherwise, you're just a whiny baby about it, to be honest with you. We're going to talk to Evan Barnes later, and he actually had a pretty good tweet. He goes, I don't want to hear the Grizzlies players or coaches, which I don't think – I mean, Dylan Brooks did actually say something after the game, to his credit for saying this. He goes, I don't want to hear Grizzlies players and coaches in the postgame talking about the officiating in this game when there's so many things that they could have done differently. And I think there's a lot of truth. Like, everyone was talking about how they put they put Clay on the line.
Yeah. And it was supposed to be James Wiseman.
James Wiseman should have been on the line, so it was a mix-up there. That's a bad look. You never like that in the NBA.
But
especially in a standalone game where everyone's watching that one. That's
on Christmas Day, marquee game. Yeah.
But there was no – it's not a deciding factor in a basketball game in any way. You made 9 less threes than your opponent.
And they looked awful from three.
Most portions of the game, they had made 10 less threes in the game than the Warriors did. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
What did you think of the game?
I mean, I just thought it was ugly from start to finish. I mean, John Morant played well, but I think you kind of expected that with the shoe debut. And just, I mean, Ja gets up for big games, big primetime games.
So does Luka.
He plays well. Luka does too. But Jaren couldn't keep him on the floor.
Surprising.
Too many fouls. I thought Draymond looked awesome.
I agree.
Which might be unpopular in this market.
I had an argument with my buddy Hunt last night after the game. He was talking about no one gets more credit for being mediocre than Draymond Green, and I couldn't disagree more. I think he gets way too little credit, to be honest with you. Because Steph is not a fundamental point guard.
Right.
Like, he's a great ball handler. He scores off the dribble a lot, but they need someone to facilitate offense. And it's not just like, oh, we need somebody. There's Draymond. Draymond is more more equatable to Tony Parker of the Spurs than in terms of dynasty point guards. He's an unbelievable point guard. 13 and 13 last night, rebounds and assists. They need somebody to facilitate offense, and he does it in a hugely meaningful way. And the only reason he doesn't score more or look to score more is because he doesn't do it.
Exactly.
Like, he could. He literally makes himself the last option in the offense, and that speaks more volumes. And I think Steve Kerr would tell you that. I think Klay Thompson and Steph would tell you that. Yeah. I think even though he punched Jordan Poole in the face, Jordan Poole would probably tell you that. Yeah. No one does more for that team than Draymond Green. Super underrated portion of it.
Well, and I think it just kind of shows how smart of a player he really is. I mean, this is a guy.
Point God.
You've got really, but you've got 2 of your starters out last night. He could have easily said, I'm going to take over this game. I'm going to take a lot of shots. Only shot, 3 times?
That's how he always does when those guys are out, though. He just doesn't play that way.
Yeah, and just kind of realized, hey, Jordan Poole is shooting really well. Klay Thompson's knocking down shots. Let me get them the ball. Let me grab rebounds. And just kind of play that role in the game. Also,
their whole offense.
I was reading,
and they don't lose a step when they have off-ball players go out, because they still have their point guard with the basketball.
Yeah,
and the football. Wrong sport.
Wrong sport. But hey, that was the king yesterday.
That's right.
So I see what you did. And also, I'd say those young guys played decently well last night. I know
for the first time all season.
Yeah, they've been rough this year, but they looked good yesterday. But with Draymond, I was reading a story on The Athletic. This will be the last thing I'll say before we get to crunch time. Or not crunch time. We get to top and not top story. I was reading this piece on The Athletic, and they were talking about in the start of the second half when Jaren got his 4th foul of the game. And it was kind of Draymond kind of facilitated that whole thing, called for the ball. I think it was a dribble handoff is what he called, and then Jaren reached and he immediately threw up his 4 fingers to the Grizzlies bench saying he's got 4 fouls. So, I mean, he really took initiative, didn't score as many points at all, but really kind of affected the game in every single other.
Great troll job, too, by the way. Held up the 4 fingers.
Yeah, and he was, there were I saw some pictures where his tongue sticking out. He's looking at Dylan.
Oh, that was at the end of the game. His tongue sticking. That was hilarious, too. I don't take any issue with, and maybe it's because I don't want to out myself here. I like the Grizzlies fine. I watch all their games because that's part of our job here.
Sure.
But I'm not the biggest Grizzlies fan in the world, so I really don't take any issue with the antics of Draymond or Clay or anything like that. Draymond's one of my favorite. I love point guards.
He's
and
Draymond's
one of my favorite in the league in terms of that regard. So I don't really take much issue with it. I understand if Grizzlies fans do. If you're like a diehard and you're a regional Grizzlies fan and you love the Grizzlies in that regard. But I really don't take any issue with it. I thought what he did in that regard was awesome. And, of course, Jaren can't stay on the floor. I mean, we'll talk more about that later at 3:30.
Yeah, well, let's get to top and not top story brought to you by Lexus.
This hour of our show brought to you every day by the one and only Lexus dealership in town. Appropriately, Lexus of Memphis, not far from us at 2600 Ridgeway. and never far from you online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call for any service inquiry at 901-334-9673. Great offers on all remaining 22 models, and the 23 starting to take over. Always special leasing options. Driving luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 22 flagship LS500 or those new 23s. You'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Jay, my top story of the day. I'm going to stick with what we were just talking about. The Grizzlies lost yesterday against the Golden State Warriors, 123-109, in a game that a lot of people were looking forward to. Obviously, the first the first Christmas Day game the Grizzlies have played in, so it was big. Marquee game, 7 o'clock, all eyes on this game. You're playing the Golden State Warriors that knocked you out of the playoffs last year. Just couldn't get it done. Shooting was an issue. Jaren obviously couldn't stay on the court. I know we'll talk about it later, but I think the biggest thing is this 4-game road trip that you just went on. A lot of people were saying, oh, you'll be happy if you go 2-2 on this road trip. I think you can go 3-1 on this road trip. Maybe you can even win all 4 of them. And then they finished 1-3. So not what you wanted to do on. Close. Just didn't hit the mark. But 1-3 on the road trip, not what you really wanted. Coming back home with this full team now, you've gotten, 2 games with kind of the full, or 3 games? Is it 2 or 3 games with Desmond Bane back?
Only 2 so far.
2. Okay, so you got 2 games with kind of this roster that you've been waiting to see, and you split them 1-1, 1-3 on the road. Now you come back home for a game against Phoenix, on the road against Toronto, and then back at home against New Orleans and Sacramento. So some tricky games coming up for the Grizzlies as they enter the new year.
And in the Western Conference, those teams that are outside of the playoffs, outside of the play-in right now, are 5 games out of first place.
It's so tight.
So tight.
The Warriors, what are they, 6.5 games back?
Yeah, 6 is only 6.
6.
And you can't feel good if you're at the top of the conference right now, and also you can't feel bad if you're outside it. I don't trust the Warriors bench in terms of playing defense the way they did last night. James Wiseman has played well the last week, I think is how long he's only played well for. But nonetheless, I don't trust them. But they are getting better, like you said earlier, and they looked better last night.
And like you said, you go in here, you lose to Phoenix, maybe you drop to New Orleans and Sacramento. You could look up and you're now in 4th or 5th place when you were just in 1st place just because how close the Western Conference is right now.
My top story of the day was going to be the Grizzlies, but instead I'll make it probably the best game of the day yesterday was the night game, the Suns against the Nuggets. Awesome. It's an unbelievable overtime game. Devin Booker went down in the first quarter, but Jokic was incredible. This is the 2nd or 3rd triple-double in the last week and a half, and he had 41, 15, and 15. It was an unbelievable game. That stat line is something ridiculous. And the Nuggets, first place right now in the Western Conference, atop the conference, right in front of the Pelicans and Grizzlies that are tied there for 2nd and 3rd. So, but like we said, anything can happen in the West, but a great day of Christmas Day basketball.
Not top story of the day.
My not top story, I'm just going to go ahead and make it my not top story because I don't know how much time we'll have today to talk about it, and I really want to talk about it. It's the Carlos Correa drama.
Dang
that
it, man.
kind of, is that what you're going to do?
Who is his physician?
Really?
What are we doing?
It's kind of ridiculous. So if you don't know the whole story, basically I'll try to make it short and simple. He signed to San Francisco, was going to be a giant, a San Francisco baseball giant. And clarification, that's right. Basically, he was going to be announced, I think, the day after they found out about his physical. They look at his physical. There were some questions about his surgically repaired lower right leg. They said, we're good. The Mets come in, swoop in, make this huge offer, add another addition to an already wild free agency signing class that they've had. And now they're saying that they have concerns about it. They haven't announced anything when a lot of people thought that this would have been a done deal, that he would have already been announced, everything would have been signed, and he would be a part of the Mets. Now there's some concerns. People are questioning, will he be a Met? And it's uncertain if this is over or if he'll be looking for another team. But I think we saw him in the booth last year in the playoffs. Why stick around on the field? Hang it up and go talk.
That's a great take, Brian. I think Scott Boras. I find it hard to believe Scott Boras was less than truthful. I don't believe that. That seems ridiculous to me.
He's a saint.
My not top story of the day, Sweet Heat Pete already comments in asking, where are the Titans commenters in the chat? Duval County. And my not top story has to be Malik Willis having an insane quote after the game, asked about whether or not how he feels after a loss. And he says, I feel the same after a loss as I would a win. I'm just blessed. Man, that is not how you answer press conferences in the NFL. And then Mike Vrabel says after the game that he has players on his team that think that the job of being a professional athlete is just coming to the facility from 10 to 4 and then your work is done. Ooh. And that's not what professional athletics is like. And he hadn't said that all year. And the biggest change in his lineup is with the quarterback position. I think Malik Willis might have a little Jamarcus Russell in him. Because there's that classic story of Jamarcus Russell not watching tape, and the coaches are starting to get a little bit wise to it, so they give him blank tape to go home to, and he comes back the next day and they say, what'd you think of that tape? He goes, it was good tape. And they go, well, you didn't watch it because there was nothing on it. I think Malik Willis might have a little bit of that in him. And the Titans are in trouble. They need to win these last 2 games if they're going to make the playoffs.
That's a bold take.
They have to make that. What do you mean?
Not that. I'm talking about the Jamarcus Russell.
Oh, yeah. No, I think he is. I think that's who he's talking about. But we'll find out more in the coming weeks. And he's only a rookie, so maybe he can change
Maybe he can turn it around.
Speaking of guys.
But Jamarcus Russell couldn't turn it around. Yeah, he was a rookie once.
Yeah, but he also liked lean. So sipping that scissor.
Good point.
Sipping that scissor.
That's right. Well, on the other side, we'll talk some more Grizzlies. We'll talk about that Christmas Day game and the loss to Golden State. And what's next for this Grizzlies team? So stick with us. You're listening to Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Acura of Memphis invites you to experience the all-new, completely redesigned 2022 Acura MDX. It's the most advanced SUV Acura has ever built. Experience the convenience of full connectivity, including built-in Alexa, Wi-Fi hotspot, and wireless charging, from the stunning interior complete with third-row seating. Stop by our state-of-the-art facility and take advantage of our aggressive APR offers today at Ridgeway and 385. Or shop online from the convenience of home now. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
Say there was a place, the perfect place for everything you need for tailgates and patios. Grills and chairs, charcoal and coolers. Everything to make a great game or a great day. That perfect place wouldn't be a warehouse. It's East Memphis Ace Hardware. Locally owned and operated at Quince and White Station, East Memphis Ace Hardware is where you'll find Benjamin Moore paints, local plants from local growers, and Black & Decker tools. Around the block, what you need in stock with people who know their tailgates. Welcome to East Memphis Ace Hardware, the home convenience store.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Week 16 takes us to Indianapolis for the Colts and the Chargers. Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers at 8-6 are in the thick of the AFC wildcard race. Can their high-flying offense keep it going for a third straight win? Join me and Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner to find out on Monday Night Football.
Right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
O'Reilly. Improve visibility in your vehicle and save $10 on a pair of Trico Force wiper blades now at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Don't risk your safety because of bad wiper blades. Be ready for any weather. Our professional parts people will even install your new wiper blades for free. Visit your local O'Reilly Auto Parts or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
So I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Why do you think they call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally bound systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile.
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. One device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available everywhere. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Hi, everybody. Greg Gaston for FanDuel. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlays, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events to let you get more action out of every game day. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started, and be sure to sign up with promo code GASMAN so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code GASMAN. Must be 21 or over and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit is required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you have a gambling problem, call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
Santa needs a new set of wheels, and he's going to Sunrise Chevy Buick GMC. Sunrise has hundreds of new and used cars and trucks. This time of the year, Santa's a little strapped for cash, but Sunrise has financing with no money down on approved credit. Sunrise has financing for everyone and specializes in secondary credit. The home of the guaranteed credit approval. That's good, because feeding all those elves, Santa's credit's not so hot. A $4 million used car inventory. Find new roads. SunriseChevyMemphis.com. 385 in Houston, Levy, and Colliers.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
Open the door, sit in the seat, turn the key, and go.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
In the tourist, trying to get my hands on some grants like Horace. Yeah, living the raw deal. 3-course meal, spaghetti, fettuccine, and veal. But still,
back with Sports Time. Bryant Dacus, Jay Morgan Harder here.
You like this song?
I don't know who it is.
It's my favorite song.
Who is it?
I don't know.
How's your favorite song?
That's the joke, Frank.
Well, it's Brian and Jay Morgan. We talked about it a little bit in the first segment, but we kind of wanted to hold off. So we can talk about it more.
I still got some spicy.
That's what you told me during the break, is that you didn't want to get into all your takes about the Grizzlies-Warriors game.
I really didn't, you're right.
Because
however, if you listen to
Sports
56 over the course of the day, I've already given all of them.
See, I didn't get to hear all of them because I was forced to go shopping today with Melinda as
Melinda's
Bowling
who,
Green just returned a kickoff.
Who's Melinda,
make it 17-6.
Who's Melinda?
Melinda's my girlfriend.
There you go. You gotta
and she wanted to go to Lululemon today.
Oh, yeah.
Which it's Boxing Day. Lululemon's a Canadian company, so they celebrate Boxing Day, have sales. Of course, all the girls
and Boxing Day is a Canadian holiday.
I don't even know what is Boxing Day. Do you know?
It's the day after Christmas.
But like, what's the reason for Boxing Day?
I'll tell you. But I know it's a Canadian holiday, and then it's the day after Christmas, and that's all the information I have.
Well, basically, all I know about is Lululemon's a Canadian company. They celebrate Boxing Day, so they have some sales for Boxing Day. Then here in the States, all the people get Lululemon gift cards and stuff for Christmas, so they want to go to Lululemon the next day. It was packed. It was a mess.
Boxing Day started in Canada the day after Christmas, as originated as a holiday to give gifts to the poor.
Oh.
However, now in Canada, it has kind of turned into a Black Friday. It's turned into a shopping holiday
Lovely.
in Canada.
So it's their Black Friday, basically.
Well, I think they also have Black Friday. But it's not the same Black Friday as our Black Friday.
Double
Their Black
Friday.
Friday is in the October Thanksgiving, because their Thanksgiving's in October, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's where, and then we went to Barnes & Noble. They have 50% off hardback books, which
Wow.
got me amped
Now, is
up
Barnes
this
&
morning.
Noble a Canadian company?
No,
Oh, okay.
very much American company.
Oh, all right.
So I didn't get to hear all your takes. So I'm excited to hear your takes about the Grizzlies and Warriors game. So since you have all of these all these takes, why don't you start us off? Yeah,
I'll kick us off, Bryant. It was a good game. We talked a little bit about it. Let's just say the score first. The Warriors won 123-109. They dominated the Grizzlies in every facet, made 18 3-pointers to the Grizzlies, 9 3-pointers. That is 9 more 3-pointers in that regard. Big night from Clay, big night from Jordan Poole. A lot of threes made by Dante DiVincenzo too, but a lot of big night in my sense. It's a really big night from Draymond Green, 13 assists and 13 rebounds, only with 3 points to go along with that. But I thought he played an excellent game.
He did.
On the Grizzlies side, John Morant really was the only one that showed up. Bane obviously coming back from injury, and he started the season slow too.
Yeah.
Those first 2 games against the Knicks and the Rockets, he couldn't really get going.
Well, that's what I was
going
to ask you, if you're a little nervous, concerned after these first 2 games.
Could be the injury, but I'm going to give it, let's give it like 6 games or something like that. But it's a tough game from Jaren. This is multiple games now. The guy can't stay on the floor. We hyped up this Bucks game, and he couldn't guard anybody in that game either. Immediately goes out of the game because he fouls Giannis. Taylor Jenkins says, bro, you cannot guard Giannis Antetokounmpo. Switches him on to Brook Lopez, then he fouls him too. So then he goes to the bench in that game. Basically the same thing happened last night as Jaren can't guard anybody in this game. He also loves fouling the Warriors. If you go back to the, the playoff series last year too. Couldn't stay on the floor in that series either. Just a really bad game from Jaren in that regard. And it's more of the same. The guy's not a good defender. You're coveted defensive player of the year, man. I mean, what can you say about the guy? He can't stay on the floor. How's he defensive player of the year? Because he guards terrible. Because he guards terrible offensive players and then helps over and blocks.
Just rim protects.
You got to guard the ball. If you can't guard 4s and you can't guard 5s, who can you guard?
Who are you going to guard? Can't guard the guards, that's for sure. So yeah, not a great game from Jaren. He struggled. Ja played well. The bench didn't look great. I mean, the bench didn't give you much. Tyus gave you a lot, but not much else. I mean, John Conchar 0 for 6 from the field and 0 for 3 from 3. Zaire still kind of struggling, 1 for 5 from the field and 1 for 4 from 3. Brandon turned it on late than you probably would have wanted him. He finished 4 for 5, but didn't look great in the first half. And then Santi, I thought Santi played well. I tried to have a little parlay with Santi.
Just as good as Jaren, in fact.
Right.
As I'm not saying that he is a starter in the NBA, but he is giving you just as much contribution as Jaren Jackson is, in my regard. So what was your bet on Santi?
I did over points, over assists, and over rebounds. And he didn't get the rebounds.
That's a shame.
Because it was, that's his nickname, is everyone calls him Santi Claus. And so I was Christmas Day, Santi Claus. Maybe something could happen there, and it didn't.
Well, that's the way it goes sometimes.
That's right.
A tough game.
But I think you're going to have to get more from some of these bench players.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you're playing a lot of young guys, too. Obviously, people are upset with John Conchar. He didn't hit shots last night, and everyone's saying, well, what are you there to do if not to hit shots? Kind of the similar thing that got D'Anthony Melton, even though he's playing great defense every night last year. Got to get rid of Melton. You're not hitting shots. What are you there to do?
That's just what that's the first thing they see is how many shots are you making. They're not paying attention to the defensive end.
Speaking of
because Conchar's giving you good minutes
I
defensively
think he is a very underrated defender. I think Santi is also a very underrated on-ball defender. Also, another aspect of this that I think, speaking of the way people talk about it, is I'm seeing I'm raging a war on the Grizzlies bloggers, as I have been for a while. And these Grizzlies bloggers last night are making tweets during the game, and they're talking about how Brandon Clark, it's Taylor Jenkins' fault. Somehow the coach's fault for not keeping for not keeping Jaren Jackson on the floor when he's in foul trouble.
Oh, you got to keep him on the floor.
Because at a certain point now, you're taking him out of the game.
Yeah.
The fouls don't take him out of the game.
No,
Taylor Jenkins is taken out of the game. Even if that is true, what contribution is he making by being unable to guard his opponent, fouling him and sending him to the free throw line, and then not giving you anything on the offensive end either? He's not contributing anything to the game, so it doesn't hurt you taking him out. I think that's way off base. It's not valuing at all what happens on the defensive floor, and him not being able to guard the ball, they're just going to attack him. He's not going to have a chance to block shots from help side. I think it was way off base, and I think Jaren has to be, from a Grizzlies fan perspective, the most overrated player on the team right now, and maybe the most overrated player in franchise history, just in terms of the way fans talk about him. And it's not even his fault. That's just from a fan perspective.
Wow, that's definitely a hot take. But I mean, what did you think about Brandon Clark last night? I mean, he helped out towards the end, didn't start as hot as you'd want him to start, but towards the end of the game gave you some good minutes when you really needed him.
Yeah, but Brandon Clark was good last night, I thought. I mean, for the most part, he had to play a lot more minutes than he should have.
That's true.
Because you have the starter out. I think it was just a domination in all facets. They looked to take Dylan Brooks out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
They looked at, and this is great strategy too.
Jordan
Let
Poole
Ja
looked
beat you by
awesome
himself.
against Dylan Brooks last night.
Yeah,
He's hitting shots.
He was hitting shots, but those are tough shots he's hitting too. He hit some really good ones, really good passes, good facilitation, great offense by the Warriors, and it's the strategy that they used in the playoffs last year. Is Ja's going to have to beat us by himself. He's going to have to go out there and beat us by himself, and you saw that last night. You had Dylan Brooks with 13, some late buckets there, Jaren with 11, and Tyus with 13, coming off playing against bench players, and that's a great strategy to have if you're the Warriors.
Have you seen this Twitter page that I found it, or I've seen it a couple of times on Twitter. It's called Shot Quality, and basically it takes all the games and it shows the quality of shots in the games, and then they tell you based on.
So just to be clear, Shot Quality Twitter page is judging the quality of shots.
Thank you.
How about that?
So it said last night that the Grizzlies should have won that game because of the quality of shots they had.
This is a great analytic.
They should have won the game 121 to 117. And the Grizzlies should have won 58% of the time, while the Warriors only should have won 42% of the time. So it was a shot quality upset.
Well, so it's a positive. It's a great takeaway.
Is it, though?
If you continue to take those quality shots, whether they go in or not.
Shot.
No, you don't.
You got to make
No,
them.
you don't. You just got to take the quality shots, and then everything else will work itself out. Right? It's like going for it on fourth down in your own territory, you know?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter if it doesn't work most of the time and you turn the ball over. If you do it enough, maybe it'll work out every now and again. I love that. That's a great a great analytic.
I kind of looked at it as a negative almost.
Oh, I misinterpreted. Go ahead.
Maybe a little bit. I'm thinking they had great quality shots, but they're not making them. That's an issue. If you have all of these great quality shots and you're not making them, that's a problem.
Well, it seems like it doesn't factor in defense very much either. You know what I mean? Dunks and threes. One of the analytics places I go to look at some of these metrics, like they do like offensive and defensive ratings and stuff like that. The name of the website is Dunks and Threes.
Dunks and Threes.
The implication being that no other shot should exist in the game of basketball.
Except for dunks and threes.
Dunks and threes, baby.
Well, this is a great question.
You know, if you only take dunks and threes, then defenders have no reason to honor you dribbling the ball inside the three-point line.
That's a good point.
You got to take other shots.
Last night they made a point, I think on the broadcast, to mention how bad the Grizzlies were in everything other than layups to start the game.
What about the dunks and threes?
I don't know.
What
I
about
don't
the
know
threes?
about the dunks.
Well, they
and
were
threes.
bad the whole game from three. 9 for 39 is atrocious, and
That's
you're not
really
going to
bad.
win. I don't care. I'm really glad you brought up the shot quality thing, because your quality of shots does not matter at all if your opponent makes 9 more three-pointers than you do. You might win one game out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
No, not even. One game out of 20 when your opponent if you win that many.
Yeah.
If your opponent makes 9 more threes than you do, and that one game you won, well, just because you got super lucky in some facet of the game, maybe the opponent turned the ball over 40 times and you were able to capitalize on that. But that's just unacceptable. You can't let a team shoot 9 more threes than you do. The amount of threes they make isn't the issue. It's how many more they made than the Grizzlies did is the big issue in that game. The defense just wasn't very good.
That's a good point. But I think Brett's ready to join us live from Texas. Brett, do you view shot quality that the Grizzlies should have won the game because of the quality of shots as a positive or a negative from last night's game?
I view it mostly as a negative, but also I would love going and telling the book, hey, we won on shot quality, so I don't have to pay, do I?
They give you your money back when you win on shot quality. It's a push.
I had the Grizzlies -7. They won the game by more than 7 in shot quality, so let's just void it out.
That's a lot of people trying way too hard on analytics. John Hollinger opened up a Pandora's box of a million people wanting to be part of the show.
Of course.
As I often tell you, Brian, that so many people want to be part of the act, and including Jay Morgan. I think you're in a good tussle with them.
I don't.
# Grizz fam.
I'm waging war on them, apparently.
Boy, they try hard.
They
and they love John Conchar.
They love John Conchar.
Who's made one bucket on the road trip.
Oh, this is another stat I forgot to mention earlier.
Yikes, that was a little shot there, Brett.
Ja in his last 6 games, though, he's been shooting the three a lot better. In the last 6 games, though, Ja is 7 of 36 from the three-point line, 19%. So he's certainly, I don't know, come back to reality, but on this road trip and a couple of those home games, he's really been struggling.
He has been struggling a lot. Brett, before we get to break, what were some of the things that you noticed from last night's Grizzlies game?
I saw what a lot of people saw is a young team in their big moment, first time ever on Christmas night. I thought it ironic that they said it was 10 straight last night for Golden State. Is that the start of 10 straight for the Memphis Grizzlies? And if it is, you know what it means. That means you're in the finals, you won the finals, or you were really darn close to winning it.
That's a good point. I think it is a lot. What do you think of Josh's shoes? You going to cop you a pair?
I don't get as excited about tennis shoes as most people, but I think they look good, and I hope he sells a lot of them.
That's a good answer. Well, we'll get to a break. On the other side, we'll talk about the new kids on the block to Christmas Day. That's the NFL. They had a couple games yesterday, a full slate on Saturday. Stick with us. You're listening to Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Locally owned and operated since 1885, Barton's has always been your hometown building supply store. And now Barton's is your go-to for replacement car remotes and key fobs. Introducing DuraKey. DuraKey replacements and renewal kits can be programmed in-store while you wait. Plus, save up to 60% compared to dealer prices. Visit your West Memphis Barton's at 215 West Broadway today for help with your car remote replacement and all of your home repair and remodel needs.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. Depending on how long you've been around, you've likely known my name for 30 years. Perhaps for my 20 years as the morning show on Kix 106 as the Young and Elder Show, or my 15 years at Brian Elder Roofing. So obviously, my reputation means everything to me. One terrible customer experience could tarnish a third of a century of goodwill. My reputation for quality and strong relationships is our main focus. We're the highest certification, a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning. If you have a business or a commercial building, we're the highest certification for warranties with GAF and Mulehide products. We don't come at you in sales mode. If you got a problem, sometimes the solution is just to fix the problem. Call me right now. I'll come out and see you today. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Looking for a bar with it all? Pimento's Burgers Bar and Grill. Pimento's makes football your fantasy with 17 TVs and $2 draft beers during the game, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you know I love a great happy hour. At Pimento's, $4 house cocktails, Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Yes, $4 house cocktails. Try one of their signature drinks like the JJ Spicy Margarita or the Tennessee Sunset. How about a Memphis Mudslide? Or be a kid again with the Adventure River Rum Punch. Hungry? Try a fan favorite, Bacon Pimento Cheeseburger. Or be like me and try them all. The Mushroom Extravaganza, Sweet Heat, and the Dirty, Mean, and Nasty. Need I say more? Well, yes, because there's so much more than just pimento cheese. Sliders, salads, quesadillas, 10 different appetizers. Just don't forget about dessert. 2 great locations, 6450 Poplar Avenue in East Memphis, and in Collierville, 3751 South Houston Levee Road. A bar with it all, Pimento's Burgers Bar and Grill. So much more than pimento cheese.
The season has changed. You know how I know? It's finally here, the Family Leisure Christmas Sale. Excellent deals on pool tables, shuffleboards, and saunas. Oh, we're just beginning. Tired and sore from shopping? Check out the huge selection in stock of hot tubs and massage chairs. Oh, and you can surprise the kids with the best stuff, like a new arcade, a game table, even a play gym. Gifts for the whole family to enjoy and enjoy together. Also on sale, theater seating, outdoor kitchens and grills, patio furniture, and fire pits. Merry Christmas from our family to yours. That's Family Leisure of Memphis. Every year we wait. They always deliver. They've done it again. The Family Leisure Christmas Sale is happening at I-40 and Whitten Road. That's 2120 Whitten Road to be exact. That's the place of shopping heaven. Family Leisure, where family and fun all come together.
Even though
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
Absolutely spectacular design, spared no expense.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back in with Sports Time. Bryant Dacus, Brett Norsworthy with you. Jay Morgan producing the show. We've talked a lot of NBA to start the show. Obviously, Christmas Day has been the NBA's day for years, but this year, the NFL coming onto the scene. 3 games yesterday, a whole slate of games on Saturday. One of the biggest stories today that happened after the game yesterday, the Broncos decided to fire Nathaniel Hackett after a 51-14 loss against the Rams. Just another game where they couldn't move the football offensively, a guy that was brought in to Denver to kind of rejuvenate that offense, and he just really hasn't been able to get it done. Brett, was it the right decision to fire him in the middle of the season?
Yeah, why not? Because they were going to at some point at the end of the year. I'm surprised he lasted this long. Yeah. It's been so bad. When you have players after the 16th, 15th game of the year saying we simply were not prepared, well, that's a scathing indictment, and they got ran out of the house. And you look at that list that's going around Twitter and ESPN site of coaches in their first year that got fired during their first year. Now, they have Lou Holtz on there, and I mean, fired, resigned, whatever the terminology. I think he had 1 game to go when Frank Broyles hired him to be his successor at Arkansas, and one of the boldest football hires ever. Coach Broyles was not going to hire just anybody to take over his beloved program, and hired Lou Holtz fresh from the Jets. Lou Holtz had won at North Carolina State, had won at William & Mary, and had only been with the Jets 1 year. And I think they were 3-11 that year. Maybe even had a 14-game season back then, and maybe even had a game to go. But I don't think he was. I think he quit, fired, whatever the terminology is. I guess it really doesn't matter that much. But he takes the job at Arkansas, and Coach Broyles left him loaded, and they go 11-1 the first year and upset Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl, and now I want to welcome all the Razorback fans in town for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. And I know there are a lot of KU fans in town, and look forward to it. We've really got next couple of days of local flavor games. Tomorrow the Tigers, Wednesday afternoon the Razorbacks, Wednesday night Ole Miss, and then into the weekend with Tennessee down in the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, that's right. Some big games. We actually saw some pictures over on Twitter of the guys getting off the bus here in Memphis, getting ready for the weekend. But kind of back to the Broncos. I mean, Russell Wilson. How big of of the issue do you think it was the coaching, and how big of an issue do you think was the quarterback play this season from Russell Wilson?
Well, this is a really get out of kind of escape for Russell Wilson, because now he can blame everything.
Yeah,
exactly. It wasn't me. It was horrible coaching this year. I was good to go this year, and a lot of people remember when we did those AFC West quarterback rankings last year, and when we talked about the AFC West last year, nobody saw this coming from Denver. But after you saw them the first couple of weeks of the year, you felt like it was coming, and coming it did. And they were bad all year, and it goes to show, since they won Super Bowl 50, they have not played in a playoff game And Peyton Manning that year, he wasn't that instrumental toward the back end of that year, but John Elway as front office guy, it just never has been a whole lot.
No, some decisions that were questionable, some decisions that didn't play out like he really wanted to. But the biggest thing with Russell Wilson for me is he just hasn't looked as mobile this year as he has in the past, kind of just staying in the pocket, not using his legs anymore. And I don't know if that's more just age or what it is, but he definitely isn't as mobile, which he never looked like a Kyler Murray or anything in the backfield in Seattle, but just isn't moving like he used to move in Seattle, looking way different. But I think you're right. I mean, he can just now blame everything on Hackett.
Yeah, you mentioned Kyler Murray, his coach. You got to feel his own blast. I mean, it doesn't feel like that's going to end well for Cliff Kingsbury. Just how many people will be fired on that Monday after the regular season ends? That when the axe falls for a lot of coaches, usually it's anywhere from 8 to 11. It's usually always about 20% or more of the league. That's 6 if it's 20% of it. So it's usually a lot of hirings. Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel. Santa Barkley is back, and this year he's giving new FanDuel customers what you asked for. Unwrap the gift of a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's really amazing in free bets. And when you sign up with promo code SPORTS56, that's $2,500 back if your first bet doesn't win. Now is the perfect time to give FanDuel a shot. Give it a shot tonight on the Chargers. The app is easy to use, always giving you great promotions, and when you win, you get paid fast. So see for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sports book and get in the holiday spirit with a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500 back. Same game parlay, odds boost, live betting. And again, for that first no-sweat bet, try the Los Angeles Chargers tonight. Use promo code SPORTS56, and Santa Barkley will take care of you in $2,500 in free bets. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets. Expire in 14 days. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
And before I get out, I just do have to mention the Cowboys with a big win over the Eagles. I've got my new Micah Parsons jersey on. Big win. Didn't think it was going to look too good at the beginning. Interception from Dak, pick 6. Didn't look great. But I thought Gardner Minshew played well. I was really impressed with what he did, kind of game manager. Got it done. But on the other side, we're going to talk some college football, talk some college basketball with David Cobb. Stick with us. You're listening to Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Hey guys, Platinum Jewelers wants to make you feel like a king or queen this holiday season and all year long. It's where the Tigers and Grizzlies go. Platinum Jewelers specializes in diamond engagement rings and customization, and they have a wide variety of watches, bracelets, earrings, and rings. They'll pay top dollar for your gold and diamonds, and wholesale pricing is available. Platinum Jewelers, 9387 Poplar Avenue in Germantown, next to Fresh Market. Call 901-907-0626. Platinum Jewelers, proud supporters of the Memphis Tigers.
It's the season of giving back at Gossett Kia on the Pike, and Kia is leading the way with donations to our very own St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Buy a ride until December 31st and Kia will donate for you. Get 41 MPG Highway and 2023 Kia Forte LSX. $234 a month, 36-month lease, $27.99 to its signing. Get a thrill in 2023 Kia K5 LSX. $296 a month, 36-month lease, $31.99 to its signing. And if we don't have what you want, not a problem. Let Bobby J order a new ride for you today, and you won't pay over MSRP. Plus, Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Code 650 acquisition fee, Forte PE 545,584, MSRP 22,150, K5 PG 186,690, MSRP 27,765. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through KFA Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/3/23. Dealer stock only. Warranties limited. Powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month. a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-715-5447. That's 1-800-715-5447. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-715-5447. That's 1-800-715-5447.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Pro Football Hall of Famer and 3-time champion. Trust me, I know about joint pain.
Pro Football's all-time leading rusher Emmitt Smith talks about chronic joint pain and exciting new regenerative treatments from QC Kinetics.
I know what it's like to fight through pain, but now, you and I, we have help. QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced, all-natural regenerative medicine that can give you lasting relief with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Do you suffer with constant pain from arthritis or injury? Pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or lower back? Don't assume steroids, pain meds, and surgery are your only options. Regenerative, restorative, natural solutions are now available.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love.
Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation and learn how regenerative medicine can repair and restore damaged joint tissue.
Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique, fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive, always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events to let you get more action out of every game day. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started and be sure to sign up with promo code CASH so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code CASH. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only, $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
Oh, nothing but the best.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back hour number 2 of Sports Time with usually Gabe and Stats, but today Bryant Dacus and Brett Stats Norsworthy
Gabe, you look
with
different.
you. I do look a little different, but that's okay. He'll be back next week. But we've talked a lot of NFL. We've talked some NBA with the weekend full of games, but now we're going to get into some college football, some college basketball with David Cobb, who joins us now from CBS Sports. David, first off, Merry Christmas. Did you enjoy your holiday with all the NBA and NFL games on yesterday?
Yeah, I did. I did enjoy it, and I got so confused on what day it was that, like, when I answered the phone just now and Jay was talking to me instead of you, I was like, wait, is this Tuesday? Am I going on with John right now? And then, anyway, I figured it out.
Trying to confuse you.
It's a good time of year when you don't know what day it is, and there's sports on TV around the clock. So it was a good Christmas, no doubt.
It is time warp time of year. Now, yesterday with Christmas being on Sunday helps a little bit, but when they throw that like Wednesday Christmas on us and you've kind of shut it down about the Friday before on the the 21st or so, it can really get confusing. David, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm glad you and Sarah and all yours had a great Christmas. Let's start with the two semifinal games. So we won't get to visit with you again until we have the final set the next time we talk with you. The potential of an all Big Ten national championship, boy, they rightfully would be very proud of that. That almost would be ding dong, the witch is dead in the SEC, wouldn't it?
Well, that would be a nightmare scenario for the SEC, absolutely, because the SEC only got one team in this playoff, and the Big Ten got two. And this was kind of, we've talked about, this was kind of a down year for SEC football. It really was. I mean, you look at Alabama not being up to its usual standard. You look at LSU able to win the West with a first-year coach. You look at Florida in the East struggling mightily under Billy Napier in year one, and we thought maybe Kentucky would have a breakthrough. Of course, Ole Miss got off to a good start and kind of petered off at the end. You know, Tennessee was a good story for the league, but overall a down year kind of for the SEC, at least by their standards. So, yeah, a chance for the Big Ten to kind of kick back at this idea that the SEC is taking over college sports. And really, you think about it, Oklahoma and Texas didn't do anything special either. And those are your big guys that are coming in, right, and who everyone's supposed to be all excited about. And they didn't really do much on the field this year to inspire confidence in you know, what they're going to bring to the league either. So it would be huge for the Big Ten if that were to happen. Ultimately, not sure I really believe Ohio State has much of a shot against Georgia, though.
I don't think so either. But if they were able to get it done, they would be able to boast. And look, David, as you know, I'm a proud SEC guy. As I say, I'm a lifetime paid up dues member, hack bootlicker for the SEC. But when it comes criticism time, I'm going to give it to them. You can't be the conference that it just means more and then go, oopsie, we need to take a year off.
Yeah, absolutely not. No, and I think Brian Kelly is going to have LSU to a point pretty dang quick to where they're in the hunt. In the 12-team playoff, we talk about all the other leagues and stuff that it's going to help, and that's true. Like, it's going to help the Pac-12, like, no doubt. It'll help the Big 12 stay relevant even after Texas and Oklahoma leave. But let's be honest, the SEC is going to be in pretty good shape, too, to, I think, probably at minimum have 4 teams per year in that 12-team field. And on a good year, you could have 5 or 6 in the hunt from the league. So I don't think it's doom and gloom moving forward for the SEC, but to call this year anything other than a subpar season, I think would be a lie. And honestly, it was, you know, Georgia is not all that tested. We talk about how weak Ohio State's schedule was, and that's a fair criticism. It's certainly a fair criticism of Michigan. How strong was Georgia's schedule, really? I mean, the Tennessee win was something, but you know, that was at home. They got Oregon. Oregon turned out to be good, but that was
at home too.
As coach, yeah, it was basically a home game. So, you know, Georgia hadn't really been tested either, and so maybe if there's a little bit of cause for concern about Georgia, it's maybe they haven't played anybody quite like Ohio State.
Going back to the semifinal game between Michigan and TCU, kind of a TCU team that we've seen a handful of times kind of come down to the last minutes of the game, last seconds of a game, where there were 4 or 5 times where it was like, is TCU really going to be able to make it out of this game? Max Duggan looked really, really good this season. What do you think they can do against that Michigan defense that with Duggan at quarterback? And do you think there's any way they can overtake Michigan in the semifinal game?
Yeah, I think TCU can hang with Michigan, no doubt. I mean, well, one, you just think about the quarterback battle.
Mm-hmm.
Max Duggan versus J.J. McCarthy. I know McCarthy was great against Ohio State, but honestly, I would ride with Duggan over McCarthy any day of the week. And then you look at the skill talent around that TCU team. With Blake Corum out of this game for Michigan, I'm not convinced that TCU doesn't have better skill talent. I mean, Quentin Johnston for TCU is an elite wide receiver. I think probably has a chance to go in the first round of the NFL draft. He's that skilled and has all the measurables. So I think he's great. I think their backs are pretty solid too. And you know, offensive line, like they're not bad up front for a team in their first year under a new coach. They're more solid up front than maybe you would expect. Like they don't have to mask as much up front as maybe a team that's depleted on depth up there in the first year of a new coach typically might. So I do think TCU can hang with Michigan, and I think their experience in close games probably serves them well, too, because Michigan largely won games in blowout fashion this year. Even that game against Ohio State was close into the fourth quarter, but when it came down to the last couple of minutes, they had it in the bag. And TCU has played very few games like that. I mean, it's almost every week with them. It felt like things were kind of coming down to the wire. And, so maybe that causes them to sit a little lower in the eyes of Vegas. But in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is probably a game that's going to come down to the fourth quarter. TCU is a team that's been very tested in those situations, and I like that about them.
David Cobb, our guest from CBS Sports, they're columnists on college football and college basketball. And David, is the admonishment of the SEC, and look, if it happens, it happens. We will give the Big Ten all due credit if they have their all Big Ten final. If they don't, though, if TCU pulls the upset and if Georgia wins like most think they will, and then the SEC will be going for yet another one, and there's a couple myths that will be debunked, and I'm going to scream them from the rooftop. One is to the rest of the college football world that hates the SEC with the label of it's just Alabama and everybody else. Well, in this 21st century, it's been Florida, it's been LSU, it's been Auburn, it's been Alabama, and now it's Georgia in a dynasty of their own. Another one, next August, do not let me forget this, guys. Bryant, Jay Morgan, David Cobb, don't let me forget this. When that first AP poll comes out on that next to last Monday of August, and you have that same tired, hackneyed cartel is fixed. If you don't start high in the poll, you have no way to climb up there. Please remember what TCU did this year. But those fools don't remember the last thing they said, and they want to denigrate college football. Please, let's remember what TCU did coming out of nowhere this year.
Yeah, it's been an awesome story. And, I've been critical of the 14 playoff because I don't think it necessarily allows for, at least historically, it hasn't allowed for that Cinderella. But these last 2 years, Cincinnati and TCU have really crashed the party. And I think this year, to me, more than anything in college football, illustrates how practical that idea of the first-year turnaround is for a coach. And Sonny Dykes and TCU, the spectacular thing for them is that it wasn't really all about transfers. I know they've got a linebacker who I think he transferred in from Navy, who's been huge for them, one of the best players in the Big 12 defensively. But, by and large, the way TCU has done it in the first year under Sonny Dykes, it wasn't with a ton of transfers. And then you go out west, though, and you see Lincoln Riley and USC at 11-2 and in the Pac-12 championship game in their first year, and they do have a ton of transfers. I don't know. Brian Kelly and LSU in the SEC championship game first year under that system, I just feel like that's one of the themes of this year for me is what should we really expect from a first-year coach? And maybe we ought to raise those expectations because especially at a school where you can get transfers in pretty easily and you're pretty attractive as a transfer destination, we got to start thinking about those things when we come out with these preseason polls because the right coach can get things turned around pretty quickly and actually make a dent on the national scene right away.
And you just talked about transfers over the weekend. We had a couple of commitments from transfers all across the country, but probably the biggest one over the weekend, DJU commits to Oregon State, going to go cross-country and play for the Beavers. What'd you think about that decision from him, and what will the Pac-12 be next season? In quarterback play, you're going to have DJU, Caleb Williams, Michael Penix up there, Bo Nix. I mean, that's going to be a lot of really good quarterback play in the Pac-12.
No doubt. Now it looks like the five-star kid who just flipped from Oregon to UCLA, Dante Moore, he could be the successor to DTR there. Cam Rising, I assume will come back. Although if I were Georgia, I'd be interested in throwing a bag of cash at him. Not that tampering, not that we do any of that in college football, but
no.
The Pac-12 football quarterback situation will be. Yeah, you're right. It's going to be solid. I mean, go and look at that Oregon State team. They were one of the surprise teams that flew under the radar nationally because nobody was staying up until 1 a.m. to watch them in this part of the country. But honestly, they were a quarterback away from potentially challenging for the league. They spent a lot of time ranked this year. near the bottom of the poll or receiving votes, So, hey, they're one of those teams that could sneak into the mix. Think about this, guys. Like, once UCLA and USC leave and they're in the Big Ten, I mean, who is really going to rule the Pac-12? I mean, you're going to have Oregon and Utah obviously left out there as powers, but there's going to be an opening for teams like Oregon State, teams like Washington State. And, hey, what about Colorado and Deion Sanders and Coach Prime now? I mean, we saw how quickly Lincoln Riley turned things around. Obviously, Deion's got a larger job on his hands there just in terms of, resurrecting that program entirely. But wouldn't be shocked if in 2 or 3 years he's got Colorado in the mix for that Pac-12 title, which, let's be honest, that's going to be an automatic bid if you win that league to the college football playoff.
David, you talk about Oregon State, and they're kind of changing their model with DJU. This year they were so successful really being a ground and pound team. And, David, I don't even think there's any pretense anymore around it. Running the football is coming back or is back around college football. Everybody modified. Everybody changed. Even Alabama went to that light kind of strike force, almost like a paramilitary group to defend the run pass guy, and they got away from that big rear end in the middle like Terrence Cody. Here's one thing that never ends in college football. You still have to run the ball, and it's coming back. In the bowl games, the team that has outrushed the other team is 12-4 in bowl games. The team that's outpassed the other team, 10-6. And every year I say it's a 75% guarantee hit rate. You still have to win that yards rushing battle.
Yeah, it's everything is cyclical schematically, and I'll take what you're saying a step further and say that I feel like defense in a certain way is coming back. You look at the defensive coordinators who were hired last coaching cycle. Dan Lanning goes to Oregon from Georgia, has by way of Memphis, and has really good success year one out there. Marcus Freeman gets promoted from defensive coordinator to head coach at Notre Dame. Notre Dame has a pretty good year considering they were in the first year. Yeah, Mike Elko wins ACC Coach of the Year at Duke after coming over from Texas A&M where he was defensive coordinator. So I kind of feel like, defense, running the game, running the ball a little bit are coming back. Talking about DJU, I hope Oregon State fans don't think that they're going to get the version of him that we saw in 2020, when he filled in for Trevor Lawrence for one game and aired it out against Notre Dame. I think he proved to us in a stale system at Clemson that, he's not the guy that you want necessarily with the ball in his hands with the game on the line. But he can be a proficient game manager in a system that already has an established identity. And that's what Oregon State is at this point under Jonathan Smith. So I think DJU, I think he can kind of be like Bo Nix and go out to the West Coast and reimagine himself a little bit and get back to being a player that, I don't know, that we all hope he could be at some point. Just don't ever think that he's going to be that guy who throws for 3,500 yards and 40 touchdowns in a season.
Talking to David Cobb of CBS Sports. David, I want to switch gears to college basketball. The Tigers ended the non-conference slate with a 10-3 record, won 8 of their last 9 games before the start of conference play. A lot of people thought that they were going to be able to sneak into the top 25 this week. They're just outside. I think they're third in other receiving votes with 74. North Carolina gets back in. What have you thought about the Tigers' non-conference schedule, and what did you think about the AP poll this week?
Yeah, I think they probably deserve to be in at this point. The losses are sound, like decent losses. There's nothing embarrassing that Memphis has done in terms of the loss column, which you haven't always been able to say at this point under Penny, especially last year, with a couple of bad losses, the Georgia loss in particular. There's nothing like that on Memphis' resume, and there is some quality victories, although, we'll see how the Texas A&M and Ole Miss wins hold up. I mean, I think all in all, though you can rightly argue that Memphis deserves to be in the AP top 25, ultimately it doesn't matter because the AP poll is a vote of folks who don't actually have any final say in where Memphis ends up in the postseason. And I think if you go by, just a more generic postseason resume at this point, Memphis is in great shape. They're in as good a shape entering AAC play under Penny as they have been at any point during his tenure. So I think you got to feel pretty good about it. The thing that also sticks out to me about Memphis basketball right now is how much of an identity they seem to have established. And that's Kendrick Davis, that's DeAndre Williams. That team knows where its bread is buttered. And there seems to be an acceptance of roles among almost everybody on the roster, which, again, that's different as well than what we've seen under Penny, where it's oftentimes been some highly touted players and a lot of mouths to feed, but often not that certainty maybe of the roles, and maybe not the acceptance of the roles either, of, hey, not everybody on this team is going to average double figures. I think it seems to be pretty clear that this team knows, hey, Kendrick Davis is our guy, DeAndre Williams is our other guy, and the rest of the players seem to be okay with that. And I think that's why we've seen them sort of be on another level early this season.
David, among the many reasons why it's always such a untidy conversation topic, like Chris Beard's incident at Texas, first of all, the allegation, the innuendo, that Sunday night arrest, there's somebody potentially, allegedly, laying a hand on a female makes us all very, very uncomfortable. But also now her mea culpa, the girlfriend of Chris Beard, it also shines the bright light on how unsettling this is as an issue and for all victims out there, because that's what everybody now will go to when it's legitimate, when it is legitimate battery, when it's a legitimate assault. Everybody, the defense will say she's making it up. She's scorned, and now her mea culpa. I mean, it may be legitimate. She may really be sincerely retracting, but it sends the sign to so many people. The pot got right. She knew she couldn't kill the goose that laid the golden egg. And that's Chris's income.
Well, I think, the contract situation. You think about I know that's the last thing maybe it should be on everyone's mind is the money or the contract or whatever.
But it is.
But if you're Chris Beard or you're anybody in his family, you got to realize that not only did he potentially, or is he accused of, something extremely heinous. Look, if most folks out there go and commit an act of felony domestic violence, they might lose their job, but they can probably go out and find another one once they've done their time. They can probably go out and find another job, similar income to what they had before, or maybe even maybe they can't. Maybe they can only find a job that pays half as much as the one they had before. But Chris Beard, when you're a college basketball coach making several $1 million a year, and you get hit with something like this, I mean, your potential for future earnings is cut down by about 90%. And you're looking at the JUCO ranks. You're looking at maybe hoping to get a shot at a low major job one day down the road. You got to think that the financial situation in this factors into the way, it's all playing out. But it's just a nasty situation. I just don't see any way that he can come back as the coach at the University of Texas. He was already the target of every road fan base and every opposing student section because of how animated he is.
Mm-hmm.
Now you send him on the road, into Lubbock. That student section, it will be vicious. It will be worse than what we saw when he went back to Texas Tech last year. I just don't think that you can do that in this day and time if you're Texas, because what he's accused of and what those initial reports and statements were like, to me, just make it impractical for him to ever coach there again.
And we saw Texas play that night that he was arrested against Rice. They kind of struggled a little bit, but ended up getting the victory. How much do you think this affects that team going forward as they start to get into conference play?
A lot. I mean, I think Chris Beard is the reason almost everybody on that roster is there. I mean, there's a couple of guys still left, like Brock Cunningham is one of those guys who's been at Texas for a long time. He was there under Shaka Smart. But for the most part, that roster now is Chris Beard's roster. And it's not as if he's got a couple of really high-profile, magnetic assistants on that staff who are, stand out as household names in college basketball. I mean, that program is Chris Beard. And so without him, I do think they're going to struggle in what I believe to be, the toughest league in the country. So you look at Kansas and you look at Baylor. And, there's some other teams in that conference, too, who aren't bad. And Texas was supposed to be in that group with Kansas and Baylor, duking it out for the title this year, but I don't see any way that they can really keep that trajectory or keep that course, so long as this is kind of hanging over the program.
Yeah. Last thing for you, David Cobb, before we let you go. Tennessee looked good through the non-conference slate. It looks like, according to KenPom right now, they have they're number 1 in adjusted defensive efficiency. They'll come back. They'll play Ole Miss, Mississippi State, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt before they take on Kentucky, Mississippi State again, and LSU. Do any of those first, 4 games, do you think they slip up any of that before they kind of hit the tougher part of conference slate? And then later, they do play this Texas team at home in late January.
Well, that's a pretty soft opening stretch for Tennessee. I don't see them slipping up there. Their defense is so good. You mentioned the KenPom rating. It's so good that teams that just aren't all that skilled or aren't elite defensively themselves, no, I don't see Tennessee slipping up against those guys. But what concerns me about Tennessee is when they go up against a decent defense, because, man, they really struggle to score. It is rough to watch Tennessee basketball this season. I mean, ultimately, as you mentioned, they're off to a good start. The results have been good, but, man, the offense, it is tough to watch some nights, Tennessee basketball, because they are not shooting the ball well. They struggle to really get good looks. They don't get out on the break a whole lot. If you like defense, if you're, I'll say this: if you're a fan of the old school grit and grind Memphis Grizzlies, hey, you know what? You might like watching this Tennessee basketball team. But if you're not, then I say steer clear because they're going to have to find some offense if they're going to be the team that finally makes a run, in March under Rick Barnes.
David, in the SEC this year, does Tennessee play in a game in the 40s? Both teams in the 40s.
They could play in one like that against Kentucky.
Sure
Kentucky is not all that different than Tennessee right now. They're struggling to get buckets. They're playing 2 traditional big men at the same time. Their three-point shooting is hit or miss. I wouldn't be at all stunned if Kentucky came to Knoxville and played a 49-47 game. I could legitimately see that.
Be some sort of game.
What do you do for bleeding eyeballs?
Right, yeah, and Kentucky, boy, that's a can of worms for another day. Although I guess we did talk about the Wildcats a little bit last week, but guys, they are not a good basketball team right now.
They're struggling.
I sure hate it.
They're really, really struggling. You don't really hate it. You're being, I don't know if I trust you on that, Brett.
It's the day after Christmas. You can't question somebody's liking or disliking something, can you?
That's a good point. All right, David, we'll let you go.
David, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, same to you guys. We'll talk to you in 2023.
Sounds good.
Thank
Talk to you next week.
Thank you. David Cobb with us every Monday, and it sure looks like some teams are going to play some of those grinded out non-conference games. Jay Morgan, when we come back, I want to bring you in on this. And so I say it every year, Bryant. You hear the sermon every November and December. That's my favorite time of the college basketball season before March, especially when you get in that late February. Those two teams have seen each other for a time before, and they got a book on each other thicker than New York City phone book. Yeah, kids, we used to have a thing where every rando in town could look up your phone number out of this big book they'd throw in your driveway about every October. And they have such a book on each other and make those games so ugly starting in January into February. Conference basketball time is not my favorite time.
No, I mean, it's tough for every team. I mean, they have enough tape on you through non-conference play, and then you're getting to see most of them 2 times. So you're right. It's definitely difficult. But we'll talk about that on the other side. We'll talk a lot of basketball. Coming up on the other side, stick with us. You're listening to Sports Time, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. the rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. 5 Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 5 Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
The Big Finish sales event is rocking at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on Covington Pike. Want no payments for 90 days on select models? We Gossett! Make an entrance with the 2022 Ram 1500 Tradesman 4x2 Quad Cab. $539 a month or buy for $37,468. Plus high performance driving in 2022 Chrysler 300 Touring 4-door $449 a month or buy for $31,891. But if you can't find exactly what you're looking for, we can get your dream car ordered today. And no extra charges, no market adjustments. Pay no more than MSRP at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett on the Pike or shop online GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 75 months at 5.95 APR, 3,500 down, 300 stock number NN203827, MSRP 36,640, Ram NS170135, MSRP 39,745. Must finance through Chrysler Capital, includes all rebates and incentives, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/3/23 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Week 16 takes us to Indianapolis for the Colts and the Chargers. Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers are in the thick of the AFC wildcard race. Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner and I will have the call of the game on air and now streamed live and for free. Sponsored by AutoZone on Monday Night Football.
Right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Football season is underway, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back. If your first bet doesn't win, just sign up with the promo code WIN. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. So sign up today with promo code WIN for your no-sweat first bet. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit fanduel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. Arizona 1-800-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Indiana, Kansas 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghhelp.com. Louisiana 1-877-770-STOP. New York 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789. Wyoming, West Virginia 1-800-522-4700 or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net.
For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the Little Red Tractor from Case IH, the Farmall, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. Well, Mid-South Ag can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, they can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and towing and then some. Stop by Mid-South Ag Equipment or call 662-890-3141 to find a Case IH Farmall that's right for you.
It's that special time of year when all of us have special occasions. And if you have a special occasion, then the solution is almost always 117 Prime, Memphis's premier downtown dining destination. Friends and relatives are coming in from out of town, and you want to treat them to something in Memphis they can't get in their hometown, and they sure can't get 117 Prime. The best possible steaks cooked by the steak experts, perfect seafood, drinks that can't be found anywhere else. You want to show off Memphis to your out-of-town visitors. You want to take them to Prime.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
Dad, come on, you're going to fall in the barbecue.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back with Sports Time. Bryant Dacus, Brett Norsworthy with you on the Monday after Christmas. I know a lot of people are using today as their Christmas holiday, so a lot of people probably driving around. I know a lot of stores are packed today with people returning, getting gift cards, all that sort of thing. It's Boxing Day. We learned earlier what Boxing Day is, but we talked a little bit with David towards the end of our conversation about how conference play is coming up and how just so different college conference basketball is from the non-conference slate. And I think we're going to see a lot, and we're going to learn a lot about these teams in the next coming weeks as we get into February and then into March.
Brian, Jay Morgan's one of the best in our building to talk about this, because especially now, Jay Morgan, with the budget so increased, film so good, the analysts are so good. Whew, that second time around in conference play, there's no secrets. Nobody's running out there and running a box and one on anybody.
You talk about the film being so good, Brett. That's a huge factor, too, because one of my big criticisms in college basketball right now is I don't think the players are taught very well as they come into college, and so you're going to have to, just because a coach has this high-level basketball schematic understanding, he has to run what his players can run, and so they're so limited into schematically what they can do. Like you said, you get to this time of year, there's no plays you can just draw up in the dirt because the players don't know enough, and then you come out there and everyone knows what they're going to do, and you're going to get those games in the 50s and 40s, and they're going to look like defensive juggernauts, but it might just be they're schematically not that advanced.
And the practice limitation, and you know it, Jay Morgan, on campus, that is strictly enforced. You have somebody from compliance, you have almost a third party in the athletics department making sure you don't violate that.
Especially if you've gotten in trouble already. So if you're a Sean Miller coach team at Xavier or Bill Self at Kansas, and they got a neutral compliance department person that is sitting there
watching
staring
everything,
literally every move you make.
With a stopwatch.
That's exactly right.
What because you were around the Texas Tech program for a couple of years, and Guns up, that's right. And you kind of saw the day-to-day. What is kind of the difference when it comes to these conference games when you're seeing two times, that second time around, in preparation for them?
Well, like you said, you've seen all the teams already, and you've already had a scouting report based on them. You're probably going to add in, maybe when you go through your walkthrough, you're going to look at a couple plays that they've run the last few games that are special plays or counters to what they've done. But kind of like you guys said, the book is already out on what their opponents do. It kind of becomes more about what you can do to make a big difference. Honestly, too, and this is crazy, I started college in 2013. The college basketball game has changed
so much.
So much, even since I started college. It hadn't even 10 years it's changed so much. So while I have a base understanding, I can't even really speak to how much it's changed in terms of the preparation for these conference games. I think the fears that you all had and the fears that David talked about, where you're going to see a lot of these games in the 40s and 50s, they're going to come to fruition. It's even worse if a team is really good defensively.
We're going to get to the very uncomfortable subject matter of Chris Beard, but also you've got this among the many changes in college basketball and college sports. The motivations are changing. He's hurt. I know I'm not questioning that at all. I'm just questioning for Arkansas's Nick Smith. At what point is it too far gone to even think about a return? Because Nick Smith's draft status, it's set. Whether he comes back and he's MOP of a Final Four run, it is set. And that might would boost him a couple of slots. But I don't see him dropping anywhere past 12 or 15 if he doesn't play, I'm mixing metaphors, another down this year. And Jay Morgan, that's a concern for him. What of it to come back the 20th of February?
In terms of college basketball, like you said, it's not going to help his draft stock at all. And to be honest, if anything, it might hurt it. Because I don't know how much – I'm sure he's around the team a lot, and Muss is a fine basketball coach. But I don't know how much he's learning by not playing. Is he studying the same amount of film as he would otherwise? And these NBA scouts, they kind of go into it with an already expectation that the kids don't know that much. In terms of Arkansas, I think you're seeing a lot of other players, though, step up. I can never remember the kid's name, so I apologize in advance. Who's the bald kid on Arkansas? What's his name?
Oh,
Jordan Walsh.
Jordan Walsh.
Walsh
that's right.
is his last name. I've seen him. He was already playing at the beginning of the season, but he's stepped up so much. Obviously, this is a great
really
player,
well. Yeah.
but the guys that are stepping up at Arkansas since his absence.
Ricky Council.
Yeah, guys stepping up. It's been great for him as well. So do you mess with the chemistry at that point in time in the season, too? There's so many factors that go into it, both personal and team-wise.
Well, I think you've seen, especially, I mean, we saw it last year, even at Memphis, is where these NBA teams are starting to draft, and it could be what you were saying with it's that they're kind of assuming that they haven't been taught the basketball. They're kind of drafting on potential. And so I think you
saw Memphis players drafted on potential last year.
With Josh Minot. So I think that's another big factor is like they've seen enough. What more are they going to see him playing when they've already seen the potential that he has and what they can kind of do in their system?
And to tie it all together with Chris Beard, there are many rumors. I mean, they're not even faking it. Texas, big money boosters, the Texas honchos, if they have to make a change, and I feel like they will have to, their number one target is going to be Eric Musselman at Arkansas, and Chris Beard with a lot of friends from his year at UALR, the great year at UALR. And that year, I told friends of mine, I love him. I like the intensity, and he's very much a Bobby Knight protege. And I was more scared of maybe something with a youngster, maybe not decking somebody or going full Neil Reed, but just hands on a youngster. And then these allegations, because Jay Morgan, as David Cobb was talking about, the financial hit he's going to take. Now he is set and wouldn't have to do this, but in coaching circles, he might have to go back to a league where he's driving the bus.
And not the same exact situation because there's
Billy Clyde.
There's other mitigating, and I was going to say Billy Gillespie. He's coaching junior college basketball. He fell from coaching at the University of Kentucky. Now, his wasn't as physical with players, although he does have a history with being physical with players, too. His was some personal demons he was fighting as well. But that's just an example of, like you said, if it's really hard to make that step back up once you've been in a situation like this.
I mean, you go from who's who to who's he quickly, and the next day after that came out, Brian, we talked about it, and I just hate it because I got to know Chris a little that year and was glad. One night a prominent ULR booster called me, friend of mine in Little Rock, and said, hey, it was like October 27th, 28th. It was late October game before they really have gotten into their season, and said, hey, he wants to come over and see LeBron. Can you help us out? I said, sure, be glad to. Helped him out. Took care of him at the rendezvous, got him in to see LeBron, and he was so effusive and great to me about it. And you could tell he was on his way to big-time stardom. Arkansas wanted him badly. Probably would have gotten him to the Razorbacks except for that Texas Tech Final Four run. You're not stealing a Final Four coach. And Arkansas couldn't get him. And then he got to what he had told far and wide to everybody, his dream job at UT, the other UT, and now this. He may be able to save his reputation, his dignity. I don't see him coaching another game at Texas. And poor Chris Del Conte can't catch a break.
Well, you just said, Brett, it's hard to steal a Final Four coach, and you talked about Texas would really be big going after Muss. Yeah. Muss was, one game away from the Final Four last year, losing the Elite Eight to Duke?
Back-to-back Elite Eight.
So how difficult would it be for Texas to steal him? It's not like he has the same kind of Texas ties that Chris Beard had.
Great point. And when Arkansas wants to, historically, when they dig in and they don't want to lose that coach, football or basketball, they keep them. Case in point is Nebraska had him on the university plane, and Jim Lindsay, a Board of Trustee member, former Razorback, friends with Jerry Jones, literally drove his SUV out onto the tarmac and stopped the plane and got on and negotiated with Houston for 2 hours and got him off the plane. You do that now, it's like 97 FAA violations to drive a vehicle out on a tarmac. But Jim Lindsay, he didn't care. He wanted to keep Houston at Arkansas, and he did. And Arkansas lost Eddie Sutton at one time to Kentucky, but people made runs at Coach Richardson, and he never left.
Well, I think, Musselman's just done such a great job at Arkansas and really kind of turned that program and made it a really exciting program in the SEC. But if somehow Texas was able to make that move, I think with how much momentum Texas has right now, that'd be a slam dunk hire.
That arena, $375 million arena, and I mentioned last week, even some discussion of maybe a new arena to replace Bud Walton Arena, because they're at a point at Arkansas they're either going to have to spend a whole lot of money on redoing it, or just from ground zero building a brand new one. And they have, I was told they have land near the baseball stadium that they could build upwards of $450 million arena. But that'd be a while down the road. But that would be a good hook. That'd be a good incentive to keep Eric Musselman. Musselman's done a great job at Arkansas, back-to-back Elite Eights. Everybody at the commissary, Walker Taylor and his entire staff, they want to thank everyone so much for the year and for the holiday season. The overwhelming response for the holiday bird at Thanksgiving, and again at the Christmas season, for any holiday that you've been celebrating. You can keep celebrating with the great food at the commissary. I know people are already planning New Year's Eve get-together, both national semifinal college football games that night. You want the perfect holiday party? Started at the commissary. You want the perfect place to watch those games? You can do that at the Collierville commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar. Of course, the original, the mainstay in Germantown. Perfect for a big group, but also perfect to get it to go. And if you're craving an easier way to order, text commissary to 33733. That Memphis-style barbecue and ribs done the Memphis way, the slow way. Start that feast with appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales, the smoked chicken wings, or where they were created. The barbecue nachos created at the Germantown commissary in the early 80s, and then dig into the ribs of the shoulder, chopped or pulled on a plate, on a sandwich, and all the sides. Beans, slaw, deviled eggs, bread as well. You can order it by the pound or a 6-pack or an 8-pack or a 12-pack. KU fans, Rock, Chalk, Jayhawk, Razorback fans, Woo Pig Suey, get to either of the commissary locations this week while you're in town for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown. It's quite a challenge, but save room for dessert, like the best lemon icebox pie I've ever had anywhere, the banana pudding, the strawberry cake. 901-754-5540, or online at commissarybbq.com in Collierville and Germantown. And Happy New Year from everyone at the commissary.
It was another weekend of football in the NFL and college football. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about who won the weekend in both college football and the NFL and what we found out over the weekend that we didn't know going in. We'll be right back.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Whether it's a small clog or a larger mainline sewer drain issue, the experienced technicians at Conway Services are ready to solve all your drain problems. For a limited time, take advantage of our 93 or it's free drain clearing special. Feel secure knowing the trusted professionals at Conway Services guarantee that if we can't clear it, you don't pay for it. License number 64210, 64365 EAS, MS 19668.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Willoshin here for Homer Skelton Hyundai. I love to brag about my friends right at the corner of Highway 78, Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi, Craft Road. They always come up with some innovative program that makes you want to just go out and get your brand new car. And I'm talking Hyundais. Right now, you can get a new Santa Fe. You can get a new Tucson. You can get any brand new Hyundai, state-of-the-art technology. You can get that without paying for 3 months. You've heard me correctly. You can get a brand new Hyundai and not pay for 90 days. This just started. It's going all the way through January. You could say a Christmas present, a holiday present from Homer Skelton Hyundai. Again, Make your deal, and then don't worry for 90 days about paying the very first payment, and only at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Football season is underway, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back. If your first bet doesn't win, just sign up with the promo code WIN. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. So sign up today with promo code WIN for your no-sweat first bet. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit fanduel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. Arizona 1-800-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Indiana, Kansas 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghhelp.com. Louisiana 1-877-770-STOP. New York 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789. Wyoming, West Virginia 1-800-522-4700 or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net.
You don't have to go through yet another year with that knee pain or back pain. People with chronic joint pain are getting real lasting relief from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. Their unique protocols use healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged tissue. So you can move again with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Got shoulder pain, excruciating hip pain? If you have any arthritis pain or lingering pain from an injury, don't let them operate on you or give you more steroids, and say no to the pain pills. Call QC Kinetics and see if their life-changing, all-natural treatments can get you living your best life in the new year. I'm telling you, people are raving about these treatments. And appointments are available as soon as next week. Make 2023 the year you say goodbye to joint pain. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010 for QC Kinetics.
0650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, 0 security deposit. Forte PE 545-584, MSRP 22,150. Sorrento PG 172,274, MSRP 32,720. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through KFA Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/3/2023. Dealer stock only. Warranties a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Mid-South Randy here at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah, and we're gearing up for the season of giving back. And if you buy a car now through December 31st, Kia will make a donation to our very own St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Hey, Jeff, my man, took the day off to visit Santa to get his list ready, so I've got the helm today. And to celebrate, we've got 2023 Kia Forte LXS, 41 MPG highway, $234 a month, 36-month lease, $27.99 due at signing. And 2023 Kia Sorrento LX, $388 a month, 36-month lease, $34.99 due at signing. Plus, you always get the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. And if we don't have it today, we'll order it for you. You won't pay over MSRP at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah. And like Jeff says, whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
How do you want that cooked? Burn to a crisp or bloody as hell?
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Well, it's a busy weekend in the football world, a big weekend in the NFL as they kind of took over Christmas Day with a triple header after a full slate on Saturday. We had some bowl games over the weekend, but let's get into who won the weekend. Brett, why don't you start with who won the weekend in the college ranks?
I'm going to start on their way to the Big 12 in their final game in the AAC. I thought it was important for Dana Holgerson's Houston Cougars to win. Clayton Tune played great, and today when we were landing at Hobby, flew over their stadium. They're going to get a real stadium before they get in the Big 12. Not that a rector set. And our play are good enough to play games at the home of the Titans at NRG that just dwarfs the Astrodome. It's hard to believe. And I was here for the Super Bowl when Eli Savoy and I were down here for our coverage of it, and it sits right by each other. And I remember going to the Astrodome when I was 7 years old and thinking, it was the most marvelous thing I'd ever seen in my life. Well, it was up to 7 years old, but it's not now. But mine in college football, the Houston Cougars on the way out of the ACC into the Big 12 with a big win.
It was a great win for them, and it was really a fun game. Down early, able to come back and win that game. That was a fun one to watch. A lot of these bowl games early have been really, really good games. My winner in college football, I'll go with Colorado. This recruiting class that Deion Sanders is starting with is looking really good. They're in the top 25 right now, sitting at number 24. Transfer rank, they're at number 3. And really, I mean, you look at this is all Deion. I mean, this Colorado team was awful last year, and it just shows. I mean, I think a lot of people had questions about, can Deion do it at the next level? He gets this job at Colorado. Well, can he do it at Colorado? Not in the South where he's really kind of lived and been his whole life. Can he do it at a school like Colorado? And he's really showing early that he can. Now it's just, can he get it done on the field?
He can and he will. And I loved his first message. His team is, I'm going to replace all y'all. I can go 1-11 without you.
Yeah, that's right. Who won the weekend for you in the NFL?
It's Jacksonville, and it just highlights, again, the horrible job done last year by Urban Meyer, but the great job done this year and what we're seeing in Trevor Lawrence. He's got it, and they're going to end up winning that division, and they will host a home playoff game as the 4 seed.
Incredible. I mean, they have looked really good this year, and like you said, Trevor Lawrence has played really, really well, kind of showing why he was taken so high in the draft. For my NFL winner, I mean, are we going to be surprised? I got to go with the Cowboys. A huge win over the Eagles. Like I said earlier, was really nervous kind of at the start of the game. Dak throws that interception, but able to come back. We talked about it earlier. Micah Parsons calling that timeout late, begging for the timeout. But it worked out for them, and they were able to get the win over.
I thought Micah Parsons was co-hosting with me today.
Oh, yeah, that's me.
And with his jersey
on. With my jersey on.
I got the 11 on, looking
this?
good. And he was gassed.
Awesome.
I mean, it was bring the oxygen tent out to me.
He needed the break more than anybody on that play, and I'm glad he got it. Actually, speaking of this, I got a Cowboys jersey. Guess what my brother Connor, what jersey he got for Christmas?
What team?
Grizzlies.
John Morant.
John Conchar.
Oh, old number 46.
Your favorite player, Brett.
I love John Conchar. There's no love like John Conchar that like Grizz fan.
That's right. They're the only ones that can
fan. Made one shot, made one field goal on the road trip.
Well, you know, he'll come back. It was rough trip all around. Oh, what did you learn over the weekend?
From college football, I learned Hawaii. I took a pretty good shot just then at Houston Stadium. Hawaii, you would do anything for Houston Stadium. You got to get a stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, never did I think I'd miss Aloha Stadium where they used to host the Pro Bowl quite often in that bowl game out there. What is that? Did y'all notice that?
Yeah, noticed it. Noticed the lack of fans in it, too.
And they wouldn't have any – I guess there wasn't a camera shot above about head high. But, I mean, a blimp shot would have shown it to be smaller than – MUS's stadium.
Yeah, it's it doesn't look good in Hawaii at all, and the team's struggling. It's just bad all around. My what I learned from the weekend that I didn't know going in college football is that the Pac-12 is going to be a pretty powerful quarterback conference. We talked about it earlier with David Cobb getting DJU over an Oregon State team that looked really good this year. A kind of underrated team, played a lot of late-night games, wasn't really as televised as some of the other teams. You're going to have a lot of really, really good quarterbacks in there. It's going to be a conference that I think a lot of eyes are going to be looking at, especially when you start talking about draft classes and what quarterbacks could make the jump to the next level.
That Arizona quarterback this year, and you feel like Kenny Dillingham will get a good quarterback at Arizona State. In the pros, I think it's the full recognition of the full start over. Not a coaching change, though, but you know they're starting over with GM, and I think had to start over with the Titans completely, and even maybe embrace listening to offers for Derrick Henry. He's your best player. He would return the most, and it's kind of full circle for that franchise. They got in this spot in Houston with Earl Campbell once upon a time, a player very similar to Derrick Henry, and they had to move on from him and have to start over there.
For the NFL, for me, I'm going to go with the Packers are not dead yet. They needed that win against Miami. When all hope was gone, there's still a chance for the Packers to make a run in the playoffs. I don't know how good I feel about it. But, hey, there's still hope going into, week 17?
17.
So maybe they can do it. But that's hour number 2. We're going to go to a break. When we come back for hour number 3, we're going to talk to Evan Barnes from the Commercial Appeal. He covers Tiger football. The Tigers are back in action tomorrow afternoon around a 2 o'clock kickoff as they take on Utah State in their bowl game tomorrow. We'll talk to him about the bowl game and about this recruiting class that Ryan Silverfield has brought in. So stick with us. You're listening to Sports Time on Sports 56 98.5 FM.
Hello, Memphis. This is Johnny B with the Memphis Music Room, the newest event center and music venue in the city, located right off Interstate 40 in Sycamore View at 5770 Shelby Oaks Drive. Get your tickets today for our New Year's Eve celebration. $75 tickets include a prime rib or garlic chicken dinner with party favors and a champagne toast. Entertainment to take you into the new year will be Memphis's very own Jackie Flora.
Yeah, it's Christmas time. You know it's Christmas time. You know the choir's are singing.
Brad Webb and Friends. And the Marcus Malone Band. Get your tickets today at www.memphismusicroom.com.
Biscuits and Jams is the best new restaurant in the Mid-South. Their shrimp and crawfish Creole Benedict has been named one of the best one-of-a-kind breakfast dishes by the Commercial Appeal. Biscuits and Jam's secret is homemade food with local ingredients. You can't get any better for breakfast, brunch, and lunch. Biscuits and Jams, open 8 to 2 Tuesday through Friday and 9 to 3 Saturday and Sunday at 5806 Stage Road. For delicious, local, homemade food, Biscuits and Jams is simply the best.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. Depending on how long you've been around, you've likely known my name for 30 years. Perhaps for my 20 years as the morning show on Kix 106 as the Young and Elder Show, or my 15 years at Brian Elder Roofing. So obviously, my reputation means everything to me. One terrible customer experience could tarnish a third of a century of goodwill. My reputation for quality and strong relationships is our main focus. We're the highest certification, a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning. If you have a business or a commercial building, we're the highest certification for warranties with GAF and Mulehide products. We don't come at you in sales mode. If you got a problem, sometimes the solution is just to fix the problem. Call me right now. I'll come out and see you today. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
It's the season of giving back at Gossett Kia on the Pike, and Kia's leading the way with donations to our very own St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Buy a ride until December 31st, and Kia will donate for you. Get 41 MPG Highway and 2023 Kia Forte LSX. $234 a month, 36-month lease, $27.99 to its signing. Get a thrill in 2023 Kia K5 LSX. $296 a month, 36-month lease, $31.99 to its signing. And if we don't have what you want, not a problem. Let Bobby J order a new ride for you today, and you won't pay over MSRP. Plus, Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Code 650 acquisition fee, Forte PE 545,584, MSRP 22,150, K5 PG 186,690, MSRP 27,765. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through KFA Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/3/23. Dealer stock only. Warranties limited. Powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
The season has changed. You know how I know? It's finally here, the Family Leisure Christmas Sale. Excellent deals on pool tables, shuffleboards, and saunas. Oh, we're just beginning. Tired and sore from shopping? Check out the huge selection in stock of hot tubs and massage chairs. Oh, and you can surprise the kids with the best stuff, like a new arcade, a game table, even a play gym. Gifts for the whole family to enjoy and enjoy together. Also on sale, theater seating, outdoor kitchens and grills, patio furniture, and fire pits. Merry Christmas from our family to yours. That's Family Leisure of Memphis. Every year we wait. They always deliver. They've done it again. The Family Leisure Christmas Sale is happening at I-40 and Whitten Road. That's 2120 Whitten Road to be exact. That's the place of shopping heaven. Family Leisure, where family and fun all come together.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
Make them drive the car. Make them touch it. Feel it.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Yeah. Hour 3 of Sports Time. We just got a final in the Quick Lane Bowl. New Mexico State beats Bowling Green 24-19 but we're gonna talk about a bowl game tomorrow, the First Responders Bowl, as Memphis takes on Utah State, as Evan Barnes from the Commercial Appeal joins us now. Evan, first off, I hope you had a good Christmas yesterday. Did you enjoy, I was kind of following along on your Twitter last night, did you enjoy watching the Grizzlies take on the Warriors last night?
I did until the end when the Grizzlies lost.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Same.
It was fun. I mean, it was a great game. It was a good atmosphere. It was actually a great, even though the Grizzlies lost, it was a good game. But honestly, if I was more enjoying how people reacted to the game. I wanted to see what people were saying and thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a tough one. Got a little pie, but, it's not going to change who they are. But I thought it was a good way to kind of let them know, hey, you got something more to add to your shoulder a little bit. So, all good.
Evan, you covered the Grizzlies a lot. You cover them now. In fact, I almost had you miss the tip the last time we were in the media room together with me yapping, and you finally said, Brett, great story, but I'm about to miss the start of the game. I'm very sorry for doing that to you, Evan. But I almost normally, and I'm not doing this just because this is our team or it's the Grizzlies, I normally would say, show me, don't tell me, cut the yapping out. But the Golden State Warriors, they respond to the Grizzlies. They ain't responding to the T-Wolves. They're not responding to the Charlotte Hornets.
No, I mean, Klay Thompson said it best yesterday. Like, they have their attention. They even said it last year that the Grizzlies have their attention. So clearly, they can say what they want about trying to downplay it, but they kind of get up a little bit more for the Grizzlies. And I think that's good. I mean, the Grizzlies get up for them. And you can tell the Warriors were definitely motivated to kind of say something there. So I like it. Like, I'm old school. I love a little bit of nastiness. I like a little bit of trash talk. I didn't mind the Grizzlies were talking before the game because, again, they beat them 3 times before last year in the regular season. So I didn't mind it, but I think, it's now, hey, you can talk it, but you got to bring it the next time you face them because now people are going to try to say, oh, what do you guys have for them, the next time you face them. So a lot to look forward to next time. But I like this attitude. It's fun. It's fun for basketball.
Well, Evan, it's one of the many beauties of sport is you always kind of have the next game. That was one of 4 regular season meetings. I don't know how many times they'll meet in the postseason this year. Got one more trip to the Bay Area. And then got 2 at FedEx Forum. Got 2 at Beale Street. So the Grizzlies can have a chance to maybe get some payback. The Memphis Tigers, we've been kind of waiting since the middle of October for that next week to get here and have some payback. This is the last chance, the bowl game.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know if this is necessarily, payback per se, but maybe something where it can, give people something good to feel about. I think Memphis has kind of been, they've been waiting for this game. They've been training and preparing, and one thing they're saying is, this game can be a turnaround for next season. This game can kind of start the building back for next year to say, hey, look at what we did here. We got a lot of guys coming back. We can turn this into something. I will be very curious how they look after a month off, how they're going to be focused, I'm sure, but I want to see how the execution is. Did some of those issues get cleared up? And, in a ball game, you never know what to expect. I mean, it's weird because you judge a team from what you know, but both of these teams haven't played in a month. So it's almost not fresh, but it's a different rhythm almost, right?
Mm-hmm. And kind of a restart.
Yeah. What I saw, Silverfield said that this was going to be a really good defense in Utah State. What do you think? How is that defense? Could that defense hurt the offense? And what do you think the offense is going to come out in? Do you think we see a lot of runs early, or do you think we see Seth Hennigan try to air it out early?
Well, if you look at the numbers, Utah State, I believe, is in the top 30 in passing.
Mm-hmm.
They have, I think I wrote in one of my scouting reports that they've only allowed one team to throw for over 300 yards this year. So that's, pretty encouraging for what this pass is going to look like. And Silverfield said, this is probably, as good a defense maybe as they've seen, since Tulane. Now, I don't know about that because if you look at Utah State's run defense, they're not a good run defense. They're giving up about 5 yards to carry. So I think that, and I wrote this, Memphis probably want to try to, establish the run, what they've always done. But they're going to have to find ways to get the passing game going because, as we've seen all year, they haven't been able to run the ball well. They're at 22 games now without the 100-yard rusher. So unless they get a collective effort to run the ball and really make that effective, they're going to have to find ways to crack this Utah secondary, which will be tough. But I think it should be a really interesting matchup facing that defense.
Evan, I want to see Seth Hennigan really unleashed in this game, but without this play, that last play of the year that they ran against SMU of him rolling to his left, and then the judgment on that play. But I want to see him really sit back there and fog it around tomorrow against Utah State. Look at Utah State's schedule. I would say the best team they played was Alabama, and they got walloped. Their best win was probably against Air Force. San Jose State was a pretty good win. So I think you're going to have a pretty fair fight tomorrow afternoon at 2:15 at SMU.
Yeah, I think it will be pretty even. I mean, even when my prediction, how much, when I predicted Memphis to win, but I wasn't sure how much to put in the headline. I think it's going to be a close game, which I think if Memphis fans know, they struggled in close games. But I think it's a close matchup. I don't see that these teams are. There isn't anything I saw from Utah State besides the pass defense that was really extraordinarily wow, they're this much better than Memphis. Or, even on the other side, Memphis is this much better than Utah State, I think. So I think it'll be a really interesting game to kind of see who kind of comes away with it, who can kind of create some turnovers. That might probably be what turns us around. And we know Memphis is a really good turnover unit. So that might be a key is if Memphis can get turnovers, then nothing else might matter because they can get turnovers and capitalize on them. That will probably be a big factor in this game. But to your point about Seth, I would be surprised if he lets it rip because, again, if Utah State's a great pass defense, it's going to be a game where Seth has to be very precise with what he does. The receivers have to be precise what they do. I don't think we're going to see a lot of them just, stand there and chuck it. But I'd like to see, again, maybe to your point, Brett, I'd like to see maybe a game where he definitely plays clean, doesn't have an interception, and that might go a long way. It might be a game where we have to be more precise and clean than just outright just chucking it around being uber dominant.
Evan, I love that the NCAA is allowing players to play and it not count against their red shirt eligibility or status. Do you anticipate, and this could cut both ways for some coaches out there at bowl time, there's going to be somebody, I don't know if it has been yet, I don't think it has been, but there will be somebody that really separates himself that has a great bowl game. Now, the reaction to that from a lot of fans might be, why wasn't the coach playing him all year? Do you think the Tigers have one or two names that we don't know about that hadn't played all year that could emerge in the First Responder Bowl tomorrow afternoon at Highland Park?
As far as like guys who are candidates to redshirt, I'm not sure because again, Sutton Smith, the true freshman running back, he's already burned his redshirt. That would be someone I would look at and say, if he still had a redshirt available this year, he might be a factor in this game. I'm just not sure because Memphis has really done a good job of playing a lot of their veterans. Ryan Stillfield told us today that a lot of his guys are healthy, so I don't see a young player that hasn't really shown himself really kind of doing it for this team. I don't know. I think it will be an option maybe on special teams, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But I don't foresee it just because Memphis has been such a for a young team. They've played a lot of players who played a lot of reps. So I don't think it's going to be a surprise in this game for Memphis that I can see right now.
That's a great point you make about special teams. It can really provide some depth there in not exposing a frontline guy more. That's a good take.
I mean, like I said, it goes back to kind of how Memphis really operated. Like, they played a lot of defensive backs through the injury. They some pressure, but not a lot to where you notice them. So I don't foresee anybody coming in, and wowing anybody. Like, if it happens, you stay it away for the spring. But I think it's going to be the veterans who really kind of make a stand in this game, just from how Memphis is really operating most of the year.
Looking at some of the playmakers for Utah State, Calvin Tyler Jr., the running back, kind of jumps out with over 1,000 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns on the ground. You look at this Tigers defense, they're giving up a little less than 125 rushing yards per game. What does the Tigers defense need to do to shut down Utah State's running back?
Tackle him.
Yeah.
Just make sure that he will go sorry, Brian, I didn't mean to be crazy.
No, I mean, that's fair. The tackling's been a problem for the Tigers.
Get him on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they need to make sure that they need to limit his effectiveness. Like, he's somebody looking at the numbers as somebody who is, he gets his yards effectively. He didn't have, I didn't look at part of the stats stuff, but clearly they need to make him a priority. And Memphis has done a great job against, teams that, that don't have really strong running games, but when teams have great running games, they tend to really kind of struggle. So we need to see the Memphis that was able to do well against the Tulsas, the Houstons maybe, and not the teams that struggle with like Tulane, ECU, UCF. Like, I think if a team has a run-first heavy offense, that's given Memphis trouble, but Memphis has done well against teams like Navy too. So I think if they just focus on making sure, hey, keep him contained, don't give him a lot of big plays. They've done a good job with that. So I think that's really going to help, slow down this running game and make them make Utah State to pass a little bit more.
Evan, I like all the bowl games. I know a lot of people criticize too many. I don't know why Orlando seems to have 9 bowl games, but I exaggerate. But I like the proliferation of bowl season. And I thought it was ironic this morning at the official Arkansas Razorback football site. It was tweeted, and in the background you could see that collage of teams with 9 straight bowl games, and Memphis up there with the who's who from college football. That is something for Memphis to be proud of, and I know they're very proud for an SEC team to see those facilities that the Tigers now enjoy, and a lot of that was built through bowl success. But since the season's been over, Evan, these wins don't go in the record book, but I think everything has gone well from the early signing period to kind of winning in the portal. Now, if tomorrow actual win on the field, maybe not a hurricane of momentum going into the offseason and into Friday night lights come springtime, but it sure beats the alternative, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I think if you look at it, if you're a Memphis fan, I think most Memphis fans have already decided how they feel about the season already.
Yeah.
I don't think the bowl game will sway one way or the other, but I do think that if you win this bowl game, if you're Memphis, it does give people something to say, all right, there's something good to build on, and the players feel that way. I wrote a story this week about how the players really feel like this game, yes, they want to go win, but they're playing for next year in the sense of we want to show everybody that, hey, there's still something to believe in, there's still something to hope for. The close games were the close games. That's what a lot of the players said. So I think the bowl game matters in the sense of 7-6, a lot better than 6 and 7. And if you do what you need to do, hey, you give something you give something for people to feel good about instead of being 6 and 7 and having those questions be a little bit louder than they would be if they were 7 and 6.
Brett mentioned it just a second ago with early signing day last week. What were your thoughts on Memphis getting a big group of commitments or of signings on the first day of early sign period? It really looked like one of the biggest targets for Ryan Silverfield and his staff in the early sign period was the trenches.
Yeah, it was. And I believe they signed about 10 linemen or 9 to 10 linemen on either side of the ball. That definitely was an issue. I think that I thought that was a good area for Memphis to address because we saw this year that the line play has got to have better depth. Memphis loses 2 tackles this year to graduation. The D-line, they lost a bunch of guys before the season, so Ryan told us that was something they really wanted to focus on. And so I think that was a really good area. Another area that I thought was key was linebacker. They did a good job of getting a couple of linebackers who can maybe come in immediately and help out. Because I do think that if you look at next year, of all the questions that are going to be up, will the line improve? Will the offensive line improve? And how do you replace Zay Collins and Tyler Murray from a really good linebacking group? And so those are going to be 2 issues that I'm going to be looking for the next few, obviously when spring starts. But, yeah, I thought that was important to add. And so they got a quarterback late in the signing class, Harris Boyd from Texas. So we'll see what that what that does. I still think that Memphis probably adds another quarterback in the portal to get some experience behind Seth Hennigan. But overall, it was a good day. It may not have been the top 60 class that, it looked to be before the signing period, but still a solid class that is probably going to be judged a lot faster than some of these other ones because Memphis is in win-now mode. So we'll see if those players can make an impact next year.
Yeah, that's just part of it. Where have you made it in your drive, Evan? Where are you?
Let's see. Last I checked, I was in Campbell, Texas. I'm somewhere in East Texas, I can tell you that.
I know that route. I don't know Campbell, Texas, and I do love that drive to Dallas because you go through 3. Well, first of all, in Arkansas, you go through a place called Hope, and then when you get into Texas, you see signs for 3 great Texas towns that are known to football fans. Hooks, Texas, the home of Billy Sims. Paris, Texas, the home of Raymond Berry and Gene Stallings. And then when you go through Mount Vernon, Texas, Dandy Don Meredith, the hometown of Dandy Don.
Oh, I did not notice that. I have to keep my eye open to see if we get through Mount Vernon. Right now I'm in Caddo Mills, C-A-D-D-O Mills. I don't know much about it. My mom's from San Antonio, so, my Texas background is, the big cities.
Yes.
And I know a little bit about West Texas, but, it's definitely an experience for me. I've never been in this part of Texas. I drove to Texarkana, which was really cool. I've never been through there. So, it's quite the drive, I'll say.
And you know the designation in Texarkana, literally one side of Main Street is Texas and the other side's Arkansas.
I did not know that. I will have to check that out. I'm actually staying there on Tuesday because I'm coming back to cover the AutoZone Liberty Bowl after this game. So I'll keep an eye out when I get over there.
Well, Evan, you be safe. I can't I can't wait to see you again when I see you at FedEx Forum at Grizzlies games or at other stuff. And I promise I won't make you late to get down for a tip-off again.
Brett, anytime we talk, it's always wonderful, man. I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all for having me on this year, and we're looking forward to doing more of this, all right?
You got it.
Thanks,
Thank
Evan.
you, my friend. Happy New Year, and you be safe.
Happy New Year to you guys. Thank y'all.
Thank you very much.
And we talked about it kind of at the end with Evan about this signing class. I think tomorrow's a big game. I know a lot of fans have kind of decided what they've thought about the season, but I think you can get a lot of momentum rolling if you can win tomorrow with a pretty good recruiting class coming out. I think you can get some momentum going into spring and into next season.
Brian, I do too. I don't want to be naive. I don't want to be. I don't want people to think I don't know what happened this year. We follow it very closely, and we were all disappointed. A lot of people have voted on the year, but also know there are a lot of people out there tomorrow. They're going to watch again, maybe still about half irritated over how the year played out. And if it can end on a good note, okay, hope springs eternal. I'll be back out there for Friday night lights come the one Friday night in April in the springtime, and we roll back around to August next year. Evan said it, and we all know it. It's win now.
Yeah.
Ryan Silverfield, I don't think it's any big secret. 7 probably won't get it done next year. Now tell me how it got to 7, if it got to 7. But I think 8's probably opening bid next year.
Yeah, I think you're right. And we're not sitting here saying that a win tomorrow changes your whole outlook into the year. But I think there are a lot of people that come week 1 next season, they're going to look back on last year and remember, oh, Tigers won a bowl game. And that changes a lot if you're remembering that instead of Tigers lost a bowl game at the end of 6 and 7 season.
But we did see the dynamic change 2 years ago after that bowl win in Montgomery.
Sure did.
And so technically this would be on the field 2 straight bowl wins.
Yeah.
And it would be 3 straight bowl trophies because the Tigers came on. They got they got the Hawaii trophy last year after setting the world travel record for flying somewhere to not actually play.
That's a good point, but it'll be fun to see what this Tiger team can do tomorrow, obviously with a good recruiting class as they try to finish the season.
Now, Brian, also, a loss. Yeah. You know what we're going to get a lot on this station Wednesday and into the offseason. I told you so. I'm done. You're going to get a lot of that. And that's going to make a hard job even harder for Ryan Silverfield building into next year. This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales. Happy New Year from everyone at DeSoto Auto Sales, and wish everyone a happy 2023 from the great people at 5704 Goodman Road and online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Check out all the cars at DeSoto Auto Sales have been checked out bumper to bumper, thoroughly examined, head to toe, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll find that special car you want for the new year, and they'll do it quickly. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. You walk in and you're treated like a member of the family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, down-home environment, and they care about your time. They want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. You walk in and within 45 minutes you test drive that car, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in less than an hour, 45 minutes or less, because they know we live in a world today that time really matters. They keep it that simple, that streamlined, and that efficient at DeSoto Auto Sales. If you don't believe me, go online. Look at the referrals at DeSotoAutoSales.com and look at the beautiful cars that you could be driving in 2023 at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
Brett, you talked about it with Evan when we started talking to him, and I'm curious of your thoughts. It's going to be about a month between this game tomorrow and the last time the Tigers took the field against SMU. I know Ryan Silverfield talked about he kind of liked having the long time off because he could really focus, him and his staff could really focus on recruiting. But how do you think the Tigers come out tomorrow? Do you think they come out firing, or do you think it's a little flat to start the game?
Well, that's one of the many mysteries now of the bowl season. It's always been that long delay, and at least the Tigers have a win back on November 19th against North Alabama.
Yeah.
When Ole Miss takes the field on Wednesday, December 28th, they will be 1 day shy of 2 months since their last win at College Station, October 29th.
That is remarkable. That's something that I don't think a lot of people remember with all the time off. You know, you kind of can forget about how.
Well, they had open date. They lose the heartbreaker to Bama. Get smoked at Fayetteville, losing the Egg Bowl, and time marches on. October 29th since last Ole Miss win.
Wow.
And that was a happy locker room that night. But it was a long time ago now.
Was a long time ago, and you're down there with the team, and I'm sure they're ready to try to turn it around, maybe.
Hope so.
But we've got some picks to make on the other side. So we'll get to a break. We'll come back, and we'll make picks for the 2 bowl games tomorrow and Monday Night Football tonight. Keep on listening to us. We'll be right back. Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Willoshin here for Homer Skelton Hyundai. I love to brag about my friends right at the corner of Highway 78, Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi, Craft Road. They always come up with some innovative program that makes you want to just go out and get your brand new car. And I'm talking Hyundais. Right now, you can get a new Santa Fe. You can get a new Tucson. You can get any brand new Hyundai. State-of-the-art technology. You can get that without paying for 3 months. You've heard me correctly. You can get a brand new Hyundai and not pay for 90 days. This just started. It's going all the way through January. You could say a Christmas present, a holiday present from Homer Skelton Hyundai. Again, make your deal and then don't worry for 90 days about paying the very first payment, and only at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
New government regulations are driving HVAC prices higher. Call the pros at Conway Services today to beat the price increase by replacing that old, inefficient system with a new, energy-efficient heating and cooling system. If you call now, you'll receive a free furnace with select new cooling systems and a free Nest thermostat. License number 64210, 64365 EAS, MS 19668.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
So I've got the whole holiday gift thing knocked.
I'm guessing it has something to do with Central Barbecue.
Why would you assume that?
This is a Central Barbecue commercial.
Well, as it turns out, yes, it has to do with Central Barbecue. This year I'm giving everyone Central Barbecue gift cards.
Oh, so this is a Central Barbecue gift card commercial.
It makes sense. Everyone loves Central Barbecue, and this way they get to pick what they want from Central Barbecue.
I like it.
Plus, and this is the best part, I get to put an exact number on just how valuable a relationship is to me.
That's the best part.
When I give someone their Central Barbecue gift card, they'll be able to see that they are worth exactly $20 to me. Keeps everyone honest.
Well, that should be their new slogan.
You don't have to go through yet another year with that knee pain or back pain. People with chronic joint pain are getting real lasting relief from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. Their unique protocols use healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged tissue, so you can move again with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Got shoulder pain, excruciating hip pain? If you have any arthritis pain or lingering pain from an injury, don't let them operate on you or give you more steroids, and say no to the pain pills. Call QC Kinetics and see if their life-changing, all-natural treatments can get you living your best life in the new year. I'm telling you, people are raving about these treatments. And appointments are available as soon as next week. Make 2023 the year you say goodbye to joint pain. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010 for QC Kinetics.
Barton's has been your hometown building supply store since 1885, offering local delivery. Now Barton's offers in-stock utility trailers, a great option for contractors and frequent DIYers on tight schedules. Available in single and tandem axle options, these 6-foot, 4-inch by 12-foot, 16-foot, and 18-foot trailers are made in Northeast Arkansas and include 15-inch tires and wood floor construction. Visit your West Memphis Barton's at 215 West Broadway to check out these quality in-stock trailer options.
It's time to find a new ride at Gossett Mitsubishi's year-end sales event, where you'll find the perfect deal to start your new year. Get 31 mpg combined in your new 2023 Mitsubishi Mirage, $249 a month, or buy for just $17,100, or get 1.9 for 36 months. Or take your pick from 2023 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross or 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander, $389 a month, or get 1.9 for 36 months. And if you're looking for peace of mind in your new ride, you'll get Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty, 2023 Mitsubishi Mirage, $249 a month, or buy for just $17,100. 2023 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross or 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander for $389 a month, or get 1.9 for 36 months. Shop Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Mirage PH 00513 MSRP 17.6, Eclipse PZO 11573 MSRP 29,855, Outlander PZ 007969 MSRP 30,235, includes all rebates and incentives, excludes tax on license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 12/31/22. Dealer stock only.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
Let's talk some numbers here.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
I used to feel so devastated.
About 30 minutes left on this Monday afternoon with Sports Time. I'm Bryant Dacus, Brett Norsworthy with me. Gabe Kuhn, he's out of town this week. He'll be back next week with us. Jay Morgan Harder producing. We've got some picks to make in this segment. We've got the NFL game tonight. Chargers taking on the Colts in Indianapolis.
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles is going to start for the Colts, which kind of makes this game even more interesting to pick. Then we've got a pair of college games that we're going to pick. We're going to pick the early games tomorrow. We're going to start with the Camellia Bowl between Buffalo and Georgia Southern. And then, obviously, the bowl game we've talked about this whole hour, Memphis versus Utah State. We've got 2 games tomorrow night. We're going to have to pick a lot of games tomorrow, Brett, because we won't be on Wednesday because of Ole Miss basketball. So I was looking at the schedule earlier. There are 4 games Wednesday, then 2 games Tuesday night, and then an early game on Thursday. So we're going to have a lot of picking to do tomorrow.
We will pick 8 games tomorrow at 5:30. So get your picking ready. And I just tell everybody, if you hear us with a group lock, I beg you, go against us.
Not a good weekend.
And if you've been going against us, you have made some kind of money, because so far in the bowls, we're a smooth 0-6 when we have a group lock.
Yikes.
All year, we're 10-29. And over the weekend in the NFL, we about the same. Well, over the weekend in the NFL, we did go 1-1 in group locks. We'll start with the NFL tonight, the Monday Night Football game in Indianapolis. The Chargers really need this one.
Mm-hmm.
We know Jeff Saturday and the Colts. They might be among those other many teams looking for a new coach. The Jeff Saturday experiment has not worked out. But the Chargers are a 4.5-point favorite in Indianapolis. Gabe takes the Chargers. I take the Chargers.
Oof.
Do we avert a group lock?
We're going to avert a group lock. I'm going to take the Colts at home.
Jeff Monday.
Jeff Monday. I see the line. I liked when you said we were playing at 4.5 because I saw it at 3.5. So I was really happy to hear the 4.5. So, yeah, I'll take the Colts at home. Risky move, but I like it.
I'm with you.
Thank you.
Very risky move. We will pick the bowl game to be played tomorrow afternoon in Montgomery. 11 o'clock on ESPN. The Camellia Bowl, Georgia Southern -4.5 over Buffalo. Not the Buffalo Bills. They're not going down to Montgomery to play in the bowl game. But 2 6-6 teams in this game tomorrow afternoon. Georgia Southern, they are a 4.5-point favorite. Bryant Dacus, you pick first.
Well, Georgia Southern, they've had some big wins this year. They beat Nebraska in the second week of the season.
That's
they
nothing.
Also beat ranked James Madison. Who's George? James Madison.
They were a wagon.
Yeah. James Madison was good this year. But I say all that to say, give me the underdogs. I'll take Buffalo.
You take Buffalo. Gabe takes Buffalo. I'm going to avert the group lock, and I'm going to take Georgia Southern. And I'm trying to find the best Georgia Southern win of the year, and it's easy. Week 2 at Nebraska.
Yeah, it's got to be.
45-42. Or was it? Or was a better win beating James Madison? James Madison may have been a better team than Nebraska.
They probably were, but James Madison, they did go through a little short spurt through the season where they didn't play as great. So maybe I might have to go with James Madison.
And we will pick the Tigers tomorrow afternoon, 2:15 at Gerald Ford, not the President Stadium, on the campus of SMU in Highland Park in Dallas. I hope there's some Tiger fans there, and try to end this year a lot better than it started and a lot better than it got going through a lot of the year, through the heartbreaking losses. A year everybody knows it could have, should have been a lot better, but it's not. It's 6-6 against the 6-6 team. Gabe takes his alma mater. He would be excommunicated if he didn't take the Tigers. Bryant, your pick.
I'm going to go with Utah State. We talked about how they, it's been a long time since they've played their last game, and so I think they'll come out a little slow, come out a little groggy, and it'll take a little bit of time, but that's for both teams. I mean, Utah State's kind of in the same boat. I think this is a close game like we've seen a lot of these games in the bowl season, some really good games. I think it's down the wire. I think the Tigers win, but that's a big spread.
You take Utah State. Gabe takes the Tigers. Bryant, that's poignant with way back the beginning of the year, the First National Bank Friday football forecast, when we picked the Tigers against Mississippi State. You were the only person that took State that day. we called you everything you can be called on the air through FCC regulations.
Y'all
You
did.
end the year going against your alma mater, taking Utah State. I'm with you. I wasn't with the opening day. I had the Tigers opening day. I have Utah State tomorrow with the Tigers winning, but Utah State covering the 7.5 point spread.
Well, I sure hope nobody from the university is listening, because if they are, they might take my diploma away from me.
I think once you got it on the wall, they can't
That's
come
right.
get it,
They can't come get it anymore. Do you have, by any chance, if not, it's okay, do you have our bowl records?
I do have our bowl records. You lead at 8 wins and 9 losses. I'm in second at 6-11. I guarantee you the worst 17-game stretch of bowl picking I've ever had. And Gabe is in last at 5-12.
Gabe
all
ran his
three
mouth.
of us. We all three lost the group locks on the Gasparilla Bowl, the Hawaii Bowl, and the Quick Lane Bowl. And tonight somebody's going to get a win because we no group locks there. But on Monday Night Football, and all the action will be right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 from Westwood One right after Rebel Yell Hotline tonight. Do we have Rebel Yell Hotline tonight? Was I too quick in that?
I believe we do.
Okay, I bet we do with it being bowl week. I hope we do. I got to get Gary Darby down here with me though for the bowl game, and he's been really busy with his Grizzlies work.
He has.
But we'll have Monday Night Football for the Chargers. Now he didn't done nearly as a bad job as Nathaniel Hackett. But if you don't go to the playoffs out of the first 3 years with that quarterback, it could be change time for him.
I think you're right. And I was just watching, I don't know what show's on ESPN right now. One of their NFL shows is on ESPN right now, and they just showed him doing some yoga, running up and down the stairs. He's getting ready. He looks good for this Monday Night Football.
Justin Herbert, that is?
No, Brandon Staley.
Brandon Staley doing yoga.
Staley's doing yoga. I don't know what position he was doing, but running up and down the stairs. I think he's ready for this one against the Colts.
Okay, with the news today of Nathaniel Hackett being out, who do you think's really in trouble come the day after the season when the axe falls on Monday? It could be the Chargers coach.
Could be.
Could be Brandon Staley. Brett, I'm going to take a cheap one and say Steve Wilkes because they're not going to allow him to keep his job. But I'll tell you what, maybe the first interim coach that should ever be considered for Coach of the Year, making that team 500 from where they started at 1-4, and have a chance to win the division now and go to the playoffs.
Wow.
Got a real chance. Is Ron Rivera in trouble?
They've been so good, though, in the division. They've been competitive. That's
really
the better word.
competitive.
Not so good. Maybe it's not the right word.
Matt LaFleur with Packers?
No, I don't know.
If they continue on this stretch, I tell you what, his brother, who's the offensive coordinator for the Jets, has a better chance of losing his job.
That's a good point.
Maybe than he does.
Maybe. Brian, I stay with a comment I made 6 weeks ago. Tell me how it ends for Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys.
Yeah.
If it's a famous coaching gaffe, I don't care if it's in the Super Bowl. Maybe not the Super Bowl. NFC Championship game. If he coughed up a game, Jerry Jones just celebrated his 80th birthday.
Yeah.
He's just not going to put up with it.
No, and I don't think there's many Cowboys fans that are going to put up with
And
it either.
Sean Payton
That's
He's sitting there. He's waiting.
I was going to say, Brett, do you think it's more or less likely, or do you think the leash is shorter, much shorter for Mike McCarthy with Sean Payton waiting in the wings kind of for a head coaching job?
Like,
I think
looking for an excuse.
I think it impacts the Chargers as well.
Yeah.
Because that ownership has to know. Imagine Sean Payton with this quarterback. We know what he did with Drew Brees.
Yeah. Well, and another coach that you brought up earlier in the show, Cliff Kingsbury, another guy on the hot seat.
He's done.
I think so, too. And, I mean, a guy that everyone thought was going to be the slam dunk NFL hire, he just hadn't gotten it done.
Well, it once again proves it's easier to fire the coach than fire the players. They're not firing Kyler Murray after that contract. No. He's staying. The coach can go. In NFL coaching seniority, of course, number 1 is Belichick. Number 2 is Mike Tomlin. 3 is John Harbaugh. 4 is Pete Carroll. 5, Andy Reid. 6, Sean McDermott. 7, Sean McVay. None of those guys even no trouble at all. Might be a retirement somewhere in there, but nobody's getting fired. Kyle Shanahan is 8th. Mike Vrabel now 9th. He's not going anywhere, but they could be starting over. Matt LaFleur 10th, and Cliff Kingsbury 11th. If he's out, that would move Zach Taylor up 1 spot to 11th in current coaching seniority. And he went to a Super Bowl last year and could be going back this year.
Another guy they could, talking about the Titans, Todd Downing could go as a coordinator. Another coach I just thought of while you were talking about that, as good as this guy was winning Coach of the Year a couple years ago, now the picture looks a lot different. Kevin Stefanski. He's a really smart coach. A lot of people have great things to say about him, but you can tell he's getting exasperated, not only with the Browns fan reaction, but just it seems like coaching Deshaun Watson is weighing on him a little bit.
I was just texted from an Arkansas media member that they're having to move their hotel because of the ongoing water issue. Downright disgraceful. We're into whatever day we're into this, and certainly disgraceful. People still sitting in the cold. I mean, we've got to get the lights on.
And I didn't even think about it. That could definitely affect that game. I mean, teams moving hotels and not having one place where they can stay.
Well, what if TVA ordered a rolling blackout like they did for the Titans game?
That's a good point. Delay
ESPN sitting there, time is money.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. That's awful. That is awful. But let's get to a break. On the other side, we'll wrap this Monday show up with Taco Bell Crunch Time. You're listening to Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey guys, Platinum Jewelers wants to make you feel like a king or queen this holiday season and all year long. It's where the Tigers and Grizzlies go. Platinum Jewelers specializes in diamond engagement rings and customization, and they have a wide variety of watches, bracelets, earrings, and rings. They'll pay top dollar for your gold and diamonds, and wholesale pricing is available. Platinum Jewelers, 9387 Poplar Avenue in Germantown, next to Fresh Market. Call 901-907-0626. Platinum Jewelers, proud supporters of the Memphis Tigers.
0650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, 0 security deposit. Forte PE 545,584, MSRP 22,150. Sorrento PG 172,274, MSRP 32,720. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through KFA Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/3/2023. Dealer stock only. Warranties and limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Mid-South Randy here at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah, and we're gearing up for the season of giving back. And if you buy a car now through December 31st, Kia will make a donation to our very own St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Hey, Jeff Moman took the day off to visit Santa to get his list ready, so I've got the helm today. And to celebrate, we've got 2023 Kia Forte LXS, 41 MPG Highway, $234 a month, 36-month lease, $27.99 due at signing. And 2023 Kia Sorrento LX, $388 a month, 36-month lease, $34.99 due at signing. Plus, you always get the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. And if we don't have it today, we'll order it for you. You won't pay over MSRP at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah. And like Jeff says, whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
The new year is here. Time for a change. Start a recession-resistant new career in the high-demand IT field with My Computer Career in just months. Already in IT? Build your cybersecurity skills and prep for thousands of open positions employers nationwide are desperate to fill. Attend classes live online or on campus, and financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill. Make this your year. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. Depending on how long you've been around, you've likely known my name for 30 years. Perhaps for my 20 years as the morning show on Kix 106 as the Young and Elder Show, or my 15 years at Brian Elder Roofing. So obviously, my reputation means everything to me. One terrible customer experience could tarnish a third of a century of goodwill. My reputation for quality and strong relationships is our main focus. We're the highest certification, a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning. If you have a business or a commercial building, we're the highest certification for warranties with GAF and Mulehide products. We don't come at you in sales mode. If you got a problem, sometimes the solution is just to fix the problem. Call me right now. I'll come out and see you today. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
I couldn't believe it either, but that thing runs like new.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
My nail tech knows how to keep it loose. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Brett, what I learned today is that Nikola Jokic is really, really good at basketball. Last night in the late night game for Christmas Day, the Denver Nuggets beat the Suns in overtime 128-125, and Jokic put on a show with 41 points, 15 assists, and 15 rebounds. Now that's a center with 15 assists. We talked about point guards earlier. Nikola Jokic, point guard.
Yeah, he is all that. I was really glad to see the win for New Mexico State today. And our friend Pat Smith at Jocks tweets this out. Today's win in the Quick Lane Bowl ties New Mexico State for the most wins in a season since 1965 and the second winning season in the last 20 years. He complimented Jerry Kill. Remember, Jerry Kill was the coach at Minnesota who had a major medical incident in the locker room. They thought he had passed in the locker room.
Oh, wow.
But he had epilepsy and he had epileptic seizures and was kind of forced out at Minnesota over his health condition, back doing a great job at a historically tough place to win at with New Mexico State. With Aggies.
You're right. Now, I said it earlier. I'll say it again. This bowl season has been so fun already, and we haven't even really gotten to the big bowls that are coming later in the month. What I could have done without, Brett, I'm just going to say it. This Jalen Hurts MVP talk that we had a couple weeks ago before he got injured, I was sick of it then. I'm definitely sick of it now.
They scored 34 points without him, Brian.
How
did they do it?
An MVP.
He's the MVP.
In baseball, we would talk about his WAR, but we don't have that in football.
Thank goodness.
Gardner Minshew looked fantastic. I mean, he didn't look fantastic, but he looked good in the game against Dallas. 24 for 40, 355 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have 2 interceptions, but I think that's more credit to the Dallas defense instead of the Eagles offense, because I think that Eagles offense has so many weapons. You could put a lot of quarterbacks in that position, and they would still look good like Gardner Minshew did. I mean, you think about the running backs they have, the receivers they have. It's hard to not succeed at the quarterback position if you're the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles.
And Gardner Minshew, that was not his fault they didn't win. He didn't play defense. He was great.
Exactly.
How about this nugget I learned about him? His Little League football coach in Brandon, Mississippi was Will Rogers' dad.
No way. No way. How about that? Both coached by the Pirate.
Both coached by the Pirate. And they said that Gardner Minshew stole the show at the ceremony at Humphreys Coliseum last week for Coach Mike Leach at the memorial service for him. I'm telling you, Gardner Minshew, if he pulled off some kind of Super Bowl exploits, we got a movie coming.
Oh, absolutely.
His football story is amazing. I mean, it includes Troy, Northwest, national champion at Northwest, East Carolina, going to be a practice player, coach type at Bama. Saban told him go somewhere and play, goes to the Palouse and plays what he's already done in the NFL.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. What you could not have done without?
I could have done without the Grizzlies' performance last night. I know a lot of talking, and I wish we'd kind of leave some of the chimney, up the chimney or down the chimney. I wish we'd leave all the smoke talk alone here in Memphis. It didn't work well for the Tigers. Just play ball, Grizzlies. They got a good team. They'll acquit themselves much more nicely next year when on Christmas afternoon in that 4 o'clock kind of matinee window, we finally get a Christmas game. I asked earlier, rhetorically, 10 in a row for Golden State. Will Memphis? Yeah, because Memphis is going to have staying power.
That's right. I think this is just the start. It was really fun to see them in that position last night. Obviously, the loss didn't make it as fun.
It was pinch me. We kind of arrived.
It really was. I mean, it's one of those where ever since you're a little kid, you've been watching those games, and to have kind of your city team playing, it was really, really fun to watch. What I'm going to keep an eye on tonight, not a lot to choose from tonight. It's kind of a light slate. Obviously, we've got the NFL game. Some NBA basketball. Cavs Nets should be a good game tonight. Timberwolves Heat. And then to end the night, you've got Trailblazers and Hornets on NBA TV. Brett, what are you going to be watching?
I like that Pacers game tonight. The NBA, a pretty good schedule tonight. I think just nothing in college basketball.
Nothing.
Going to slow down before it gets started back again. We'll watch the NFL game. Must win for the Chargers. It speaks for itself. And can Jeff Saturday can he salvage that job? I think Irsay really wants to hire him. But can you go out to that bank of cameras and look at your season ticket holders and say, you know, we're with Jeff if he only won the one game? I mean, you got to put some chops on the resume, don't you?
You got to do something.
Other than you're a beloved former player and everybody likes you, which that beats being a hated former player that nobody likes.
And then not hiring Steve Wilkes alongside that too. Hiring Jeff Saturday and not hiring Steve Wilkes.
That's right. But like you said, no college basketball tonight. A very limited slate again tomorrow night before we really get kicked up. A lot of teams starting conference play on Wednesday. We'll kind of have a day full of action. Jay, before we get out of here, what's your best bet of the night?
Oh, I like the Cavs -2 against the Nets tonight.
Cavs -2.
You mentioned that game. I like the Cavs tonight. I'm going to give 2. I'm sorry. I also like the T-Wolves and Heat over 221. That line started at 228. Players for the Heat coming out has moved it down to 221. I'm taking the over in that one.
Taking the over in that one.
Jay Morgan, on your compilation of Coach Speak, you got to find the halftime interview of Nathaniel Hackett going back out yesterday when he basically said, this is really over.
He was right, wasn't he?
And it was.
It was. He was absolutely right. So we'll have a fun night. Like I said, if you like NBA basketball or the NFL, you're in good hands tonight. But I do want to thank all our guests today. David Cobb for joining us earlier. Evan Barnes as he was traveling down to Dallas for the Tigers football game. But for Brett, for Jay, for the vacationing Gabe Kuhn, I'm Bryant. Y'all have a great rest of the day. We'll see you tomorrow.